Chapter 43-55. Hearing this, Bai Qing sneered in his heart. How could he not know what Ni Quan was thinking? He even felt that before he made a move to capture Xiaohua, Ni Quan should have already known that Xiaohua was the Dragon Island's Dragon Master. However, Ni Quan also wanted to obtain some benefits from Xiaohua, so he pretended not to know. If the Dragon Island came to denounce him, he would use his ignorance as an excuse to evade responsibility. If Ni Quan could say so, how could Bai Qing not? He replied with a sad face, this old man also didn't know at that time. It wasn't until Xiaohua was suppressed in the Heavenly Dam Water Prison that this old man got the news. At that time, this old man was already in a difficult position. So, when the two demon brothers came to discuss with this old man again, this old man agreed without hesitation. Even if the two demon brothers wanted to gain benefits from Xiaohua, this old man didn't even think of asking. He. Ni Quan laughed, what this old man wants to do, although I didn't tell you clearly, I don't believe that you don't understand after more than 100 years. Whether this old man understands or not, that's my business. Bai Qing shook his head, what exactly do you want to do? I still need you to say it yourself. I think it's time for Ancient Bell Mountain, Bai Qingyu, and Concealed Sky Ridge to be frank and honest, right? Peng Jun had been silent all this time. At this moment, he suddenly opened his mouth, Brother Bai, how do you plan to deal with Xiaohua after the banquet? Kill him? Ni Quan asked with interest. No. Bai Qing shook his head slightly, my ancestor said it herself, ancestor said it? Peng Jun was shocked and said anxiously, how does she know about this? This old man doesn't know. Bai Qing shook his head slightly, his face was also puzzled, and replied, my ancestor wants to search his soul personally. Hiss. Peng Jun heard and unconsciously took a breath, his face showing a difficult expression. Two demon brothers. Bai Qing saw that Peng Jun was in a difficult position and understood what he was thinking. She said, actually, I wanted to search your soul several decades ago. However, because I, Bai Qingyu, made an agreement with the two demon brothers, and the two demon brothers, especially Brother Peng, abided by the agreement when they came to ask for information, I didn't want to break the agreement. This time, I'm discussing the banquet with Brother Peng because of my ancestor's words. I want to make a final effort for you two demon brothers. Sigh, this old man understands. Peng Jun said with a sigh. Many thanks, Brother Bai. Let's do as Brother Bai says. Since the old ancestor has spoken, this old man will have to answer to Tsang Yu Tian when I return. All right. Seeing that Peng Jun had agreed, Bai Qing heaved a sigh of relief and looked at Ni Quan, what about Brother Ni? I don't care. Ni Quan said with a smile, this old man just thinks highly of Xiaohua's power in the hidden immortal mainland. I want to support him to be the representative of Ancient Bell Mountain. You also know that my Ancient Bell Mountain is not like Bai Qingyu and Concealed Sky Ridge. We don't control much power in the hidden immortal mainland. This Xiaohua is a Dao sect cultivator, and he happens to be on good terms with a human descendant of my Ancient Bell Mountain. If we use him, we can save a lot of energy. I even heard from my human descendant that this guy's strength may be comparable to Grand Mist Ancestor in the future. That's why this old man made a previous agreement with you. If you don't need Xiaohua, then search his soul. Even if you kill him, it doesn't matter. My human descendant already has a way to deal with this. Bai Qingyu glanced at Ni Quan and said with a smile, your Ancient Bell Mountain really has a good idea. This Xiaohua does have some foundation in the hidden immortal mainland. Since the news of the banquet spread out, more than 10 groups of Dao sect cultivators have come to find and rescue Xiaohua. After the banquet, this old man will hand over those Dao sect cultivators to your human descendant. Many thanks, Brother Bai. Ni Quan smiled and raised his cup. After the three monster kings drank a few more cups, Peng Jun said meaningfully, "Oh right, Brother Bai, in these years, could it be that Dragon Island or the dragon race didn't come to investigate?" "AI, yes." Bai Qingyu sighed, "Xiaohua is the dragon master of the dragon race. Not only did the Dragon Island not send any dragon race to the Dragon Palace of the Four Seas, this is the reason why this old man has been nervous. This old man didn't dare to relax for hundreds of years, isn't it because I'm afraid of the dragon race's revenge?" Peng Jun sneered in his heart. How could he believe Bai Qingyu's complaints? He then probed, although Xiaohua is a human cultivator, his strength is not particularly high, but since Dragon Island conferred him the title of Dragon Master, what? Hearing this, Bai Qingyu was shocked and hurriedly interrupted Peng Jun's words. He said curiously, "Brother Peng, say it again. You said Xiaohua is a human cultivator?" "Yes." Peng Jun said curiously, "Xiaohua is naturally a human cultivator. You think he's a dragon? But..." Bai Qingyu was puzzled and was about to speak when Ni Quan also said with a smile, "Brother Bai, of course Xiaohua is a human cultivator. Otherwise, why would he participate in the Immortal Palace's Jade Pavilion gathering and make friends with the human descendant of our ancient Bell Mountain? Damn it!" Bai Qingyu almost jumped up and said in shock, "Could it be that we made a mistake?" "How could it be a mistake?" Peng Jun's heart also moved, but his expression was still calm. He said with a smile, "Brother Bai, do you still remember the demonic artifact this old man took the first time?" Bai Qingyu originally wanted to explain, but after hearing Peng Jun's words, he swallowed his words and said doubtfully, "Of course this old man remembers. You even activated the demonic artifact in front of this old man and interrogated Xiaohua." "Actually," Peng Jun said with a smile, "that demonic artifact is not a demonic artifact, but a soul artifact. This old man didn't interrogate Xiaohua the first time. This old man was just activating the soul artifact to confirm whether this Xiaohua is the real Xiaohua." You're sure?" Bai Qingyu was dumbfounded. "Xiaohua is the human Xiaohua you're looking for?" "Yes. His soul is Xiaohua's soul." Peng Jun replied resolutely, "This old man can guarantee, but as for how this old man knows, forgive this old man for not being able to say." What the hell? Bai Qingyu was greatly surprised. How is this possible? Could it be that you and I, the three monster kings? At this moment, a clear voice sounded outside the monster king's cave, "Father." Following this voice, a shell-type monster with a 5-colored halo around her body flew in. That monster called out before she came in, "Father, what's the matter that you're urgently looking for your daughter?" "Io, just in time." Bai Qingyu saw the shell-type monster come in and said loudly, "Bai Bo, come over and tell the two monster kings whether that Xiaohua is a human or a dragon." This concubine greets the two monster kings. The halo around the shell-type monster named Bai Bo flashed a few times, and then she bowed respectfully. "Hehe, get up." Ni Quan was the least anxious. With a wave of his hand, he helped Bai Bo up and said with a smile, "Brother Bai is so lucky. Your Bai Qingyu's Yao Ji has only not seen you for a few decades, and your strength has increased by a lot. I'm afraid you're about to reach the sun-devouring realm, right? Your Majesty praises me too much." Bai Bo said with a smile, "This concubine is only at the star-plucking realm. There's still a long way to go before I reach the sun-devouring realm. This is my Tsangyue Heaven's monster core. It's most useful for the star-plucking realm water clan. Just keep it." Peng Jun was somewhat impatient. He raised his hand and took out a pill from the universe ring and handed it to Bai Bo, saying, "Tell this king whether that Xiaohua is a human or a dragon." "Thank you, Your Majesty." Jade Wave happily accepted the medicinal pill, then swept a glance at his father and said, "Xiaohua is originally from the dragon race. How can he be a human? How is this possible?" Not only did Peng Jun roar, even Ni Quan turned pale with fright. He looked at Bai Qing and shouted, "Brother Bai, how is this possible? Could it be that we three monster kings have schemed for hundreds of years, but in the end, we still can't figure out whether Xiao Hua is a human or a dragon? Whether Xiao Hua is a human or a dragon, it doesn't matter at all." Bai Bo was very puzzled. What this old man wants has nothing to do with whether he's a human or a dragon. Moreover, since Xiao Hua is Dragon Island's dragon master, he's naturally a dragon. What's so strange about this? Wrong, wrong. Ni Quan waved his hand and said, "Xiao Hua is a Dao sect cultivator. He participated in the Jade Pavilion gathering and even proclaimed himself as a king in Black Wind Ridge. He was once a country's teacher. How can he be a dragon?" At this point, Ni Quan seemed to have some understanding. He pinched his chin and said with a smile, "This old man understands. This might be Dragon Island's trick. But it doesn't matter. Whether Xiao Hua is a dragon or a human has nothing to do with my ancient Bell Mountain. Xiao Hua can't be a dragon. He can only be a human." Peng Jun stood up from the ground and spread his wings. "This has a lot to do with this old man." "Bai Bo," Bai Qing said with a smile, "you're in charge of the Sky Dam water prison. Tell me, is Xiao Hua a human or a dragon?" He, Xiao Hua is naturally a dragon." Bai Bo said with a smile, "Father, is it because of this that you hurriedly called your daughter over from the Sky Dam water prison? When did this old man call you over?" Bai Qing was stunned and asked back. "Damn bitch." Bai Bo immediately realized and cursed, "She actually dared to scheme against me, who?" Bai Qing asked curiously. "It's that human descendant who took father's Monster King token and went to interrogate Xiao Hua," Bai Bo said while gnashing her teeth. "Li Jing? Why is she?" Bai Qing said curiously. Before Bai Qing finished speaking, another exclamation came from outside the Monster King cave. "King, Yaoji, not good. Something big happened in the Sky Dam water prison." "Not good?" Hearing that something big happened in the Sky Dam water prison, Bai Bo didn't wait for the water clan outside to finish speaking. She turned into a five-colored rainbow and flew out of the cave. Bai Bo was naturally worried about her lover. Bai Qing, Peng Jun, and Ni Quan, the three monster kings, were even more anxious than her. Seeing that Bai Bo had just left, the three monster kings activated their abilities and instantly overtook Bai Bo and rushed towards the Sky Dam water prison. Chapter 43-56. Fairy Jing took the five-colored beast skin and flew into the heavenly dam water prison. Her heart was beating wildly, and she silently recited the speech she had prepared beforehand to deal with the patrolling beasts that appeared at any time. However, what surprised her was that when she landed at the bottom of the fire pillar, the back of Xiao Hua's head was faintly visible in the flames. Not to mention that shelled beasts, even the other patrolling beasts, were nowhere to be seen. Fairy Jing naturally didn't know that it was Jadewave's appearance that made these beasts flee in panic. When she faked the Demon King command, those fleeing beasts still hadn't returned. While she was secretly delighted, she landed in front of Little White Dragon. Little White Dragon had just been burned by the five-colored flames of the fire pillar and was currently powerless. He didn't raise his head at all, thinking that Conch Girl or Jade Wave had returned. He mercilessly roared, "Scram! I'm not in a good mood right now." Fairy Jing's peach blossom-like face paled. She whispered, "Xiao Hua." Little White Dragon was stunned. He slowly raised his head, looked at Fairy Jing, and asked curiously, "So it's you? Why did you come back?" Little White Dragon immediately came to his senses and replied with a wry smile, "Although I gave you that jade eye, I have never seen that thing before. Because it's used to refine magic treasures, I had you look for it. Even if you personally came to ask me, I wouldn't know about that thing. Xiao Hua, do you still resent me?" Fairy Jing didn't pay attention to Little White Dragon's explanation. She only stared blankly at Xiao Hua's familiar face and asked word by word. No, absolutely not. How could little white dragon find trouble for Xiao Hua? He replied without hesitation. Then why did you? Fairy Jing still asked with hidden bitterness. Little white dragon was now an old dragon that could move unhindered among flowers. Under Jadewave's torment, he already had a silent response to this question. He hastily replied, I didn't ignore you. It's not like I don't know you. Why don't you think about it? Where is this place? Can I rashly say that I know you? Can't I protect you? When Fairy Jing heard this, she couldn't help but smile. This smile was truly like 100 flowers blooming. Even the resplendent sparks in the surroundings couldn't compare. To be able to hear those words from my dear Xiao before leaving this filthy world, this concubine is already perfectly satisfied. Although Fairy Jing's tone was exceptionally calm, her gaze was fixed on Xiao Hua as she muttered to herself, this concubine has lived in this world for so long. Apart from Xiao Hua, this concubine has never met another person as pure as Xiao Hua, who is as pure as crystal. That day, it wasn't that this concubine was unwilling to accompany Xiao Lang, but this concubine wasn't worthy of Xiao Lang, and this concubine was afraid of bringing trouble to Xiao Lang. What this concubine didn't know was that this concubine had brought so much trouble to Xiao Lang. This is all this concubine's fault. This concubine is willing to make up for this mistake. I only hope that Xiao Lang can forgive this concubine. With that, Fairy Jing stretched out her hand and touched the back of little white dragon's head. Her cherry-red lips touched little white dragon's cheek. Damn it! Little white dragon was dumbfounded. He hurriedly retreated and shouted, Don't, I'm not. Fairy Jing's face turned even paler when she saw little white dragon running away. She bit her lip and said, Darling Xiao, I know you won't forgive me, but... Although this concubine didn't do it on purpose, it's still the biggest mistake this concubine has made in her life. Moreover, this concubine is very regretful right now. This concubine shouldn't have drunk that unruffled water. Let me ask you, what is love in this world? It makes people want to live and die for it. How can a love that doesn't even care about life and death be washed away by a handful of water? If it wasn't for that unruffled water, this concubine would have been able to think of you day and night for the past 200 years. That would have been such a beautiful thing. That. Little white dragon opened his mouth and wanted to transmit his voice. However, he was suppressed by the pillar of fire and couldn't use his dragon power. He could only shout, I'm really not Xiao Hua. The real Xiao Hua is your lover. I don't know where he is, you still won't forgive me. Fairy Jing's face was ashen. She stared blankly at little white dragon's familiar face and said, Although this concubine has already drunk the unruffled water, your voice and smile have already been imprinted in this concubine's heart. Seeing your face, this concubine's heart is beating wildly, damn it. Little white dragon anxiously said, I'm imprisoned by the demon king's pillar of fire and can't return to my original appearance, no need to say any more. Fairy Jing said faintly, Xiao Lang, whether you forgive me or not is no longer important. While speaking, Fairy Jing opened her mouth. Pooh! The heart shell fell into the air. The moment it appeared, it immediately emitted a 5-colored halo. This light was like Fairy Jing's heart that was crying blood. It flickered and condensed into 5-colored dots that fell from the heart shell. Pooh! Fairy Jing didn't stop at all. She opened her mouth again, but this time, she spat out a mouthful of essence blood. When the essence blood landed on the heart shell, the 5-colored halo of the heart shell suddenly retracted. A blood-colored heart shell emitted a blood-colored brilliance in the air. What are you doing? Little white dragon didn't understand. Fairy Jing ignored little white dragon and raised her hand again. Wang. A nascent soul wearing soft armor rushed out of the door with an even smaller sea pearl in his hand. Wang. The blood-colored heart shell emitted a huge rumbling sound before finally exploding with a bang. When the blood-colored heart shell exploded, Fairy Jing couldn't help but moan. Even little white dragon's heart was broken. Woo! After the blood-colored heart shell exploded, Fairy Jing's nascent soul opened its mouth and sucked in all the blood mist. Boom boom. Thunderous sounds flashed around the nascent soul. The strange runes on the heart shell appeared one by one. However, the runes weren't five-colored, but blood-colored. The nascent soul crazily expanded in the blood-colored light and the thunderous sounds. In an instant it was more than 10 feet tall. Xiao Lang. Fairy Jing suddenly cried out, "This time, we will be separated by life and death. Even if I have thousands of thoughts, they will all turn into a flower in the yellow springs. I will have no one to complain to, damn it." Seeing the nascent soul emitting obscure waves, Little White Dragon suddenly realized and said in surprise, You want to break the seal? You are really too whimsical. Even Jade Wave doesn't dare to break this seal. You think you can break it? You are throwing away your life for nothing. Xiao Lang, this is all I can do. Goodbye. Fairy Jing's eyes were filled with tears as she said sadly, I finally understand the thoughts of the sister in your story. I only want to reincarnate and not be a descendant of the demon race. I only want to be a clean person. Even if I don't have any cultivation, I only want to live a quiet life. Roar. Little White Dragon angrily roared. His entire dragon body powerlessly struggled within the pillar of fire, but the flames within the pillar of fire didn't even move. Little White Dragon shouted, Idiot, don't do anything stupid. I'm really not Xiao Hua, I'm Xiao Hua's good friend, my name is Little White. Really. Unfortunately, at this time, not to mention Little White Dragon couldn't restore his dragon body, even if he did, how could Fairy Jing still believe him? Sometimes, when the fake is real, the real is fake. Pooh. Fairy Jing took one last look at Little White Dragon's face, her eyes filled with reluctance. Then, she slapped her head. Blood splattered, and Fairy Jing's entire body collapsed. Following the collapse of her body, that several zhang long nascent soul fell with a loud rumble and merged with her flesh. Damn it! Little White Dragon powerlessly raised his head and muttered, How should I explain this to Xiao Hua? Wang. After Fairy Jing's nascent soul merged with her flesh, her nascent soul released a powerful rumbling sound. Her pressure quickly broke through from the nascent soul realm to the out-of-body realm, another infatuated, brainless woman. Little White Dragon looked at Fairy Jing's nascent soul and shouted, Even if you give up your life, you are only at the edge of the 5th level. How can you break the seal with this kind of shallow strength? You should hurry and stop. Although you are only left with your nascent soul, you still have your life. With Xiao Hua's ability, it's not impossible. Unfortunately, before Little White Dragon could finish speaking, the blood-red runes around the nascent soul burst open again. Fairy Jing's nascent soul spirit body collapsed, and the entire spirit body crashed into the ocean pearl that had been hovering above the nascent soul's head. Wang. When the nascent soul rushed into the ocean pearl released an even louder rumbling sound. Waves of dark green water rushed out from the ocean pearl and fell into the air. Beautiful scenes of the sea appeared in the light. There were waves of blue waves, or fishes leaping and birds flying, or thousands of layers of snow, or thousands of miles of sea. Previously, it was still hot, but now, it was instantly cool. Moreover, when the waves of water fell into the fire pillar, the fire runes and 5-colored halos on the fire pillar all retreated, and the fire pillar's trembling was still frozen. Gotcha. The moment the waves of water spread to the fire pillar, a blood-colored crack appeared on the ocean pearl. The entire ocean pearl shattered, and the blue water mixed with the blood runes turned into monstrous remorse and crazily crashed into the fire pillar. Boom. Inside the heavenly dam water prison, the entire fire pillar was trembling. It was as if the raging fire had succumbed to Fairy Jing's remorse. Wherever the blue water touched, a loud rumbling sound could be heard. The red fire pillar was frozen inch by inch. What was special was that at the bottom of the pillar of fire that was suppressing the little white dragon, the threads of blood dyed the entire pillar of fire. The threads of blood were mixed with a five-colored halo, and they quickly seeped into the pillar of fire. The immovable restriction that was like a mountain suddenly showed signs of loosening. Roar! Little White Dragon was overjoyed and let out a roar. The dragon energy in its body suddenly surged. Boom boom. The fire pillar suppressing Little White Dragon was slowly lifted up by Little White Dragon. The entire heavenly dam water prison was trembling. Chapter 43:57. Damn it! How could such a large commotion from the bottom of the fire pillar not attract the attention of the demon race? The armored demon appeared out of nowhere. Seeing the situation, he couldn't help but curse. His body quickly swayed and his armored demon body suddenly grew to several hundred feet in size. The shell demon didn't fly to the fire pillar. Instead, it went straight to the top of the mountain. Its entire body spun quickly. The five-colored halo around its body shone brightly. It turned into a pillar of light that fell into the fire pillar. Woo! Where the five-colored halo landed, the fire pillar responded. All of the five-colored runes flowed on the surface of the fire pillar and rushed down the fire pillar. As the runes rushed in, the flames and runes that had been frozen by Fairy Jing's sea pearl began to jump again. Break! The shell demon had just calmed down when he heard a dragon voice coming from below the pillar of fire. Immediately after, countless strands of fire-type origin energy rushed down the mountain. A ball of golden light quickly appeared in the crimson and dark green light. Damn it! The demonic beast could feel the power of this golden light and could not help but grumble bitterly. Just as it was about to activate its divine ability, boom! At this moment, the golden light suddenly exploded and the entire fire pillar started to collapse from the bottom. At the same time, the mountain peak of the Heaven Dam water prison started to shake violently. Just at this moment, a cold snort came from the distance. Following this sound, a five-colored light pillar more than 100 feet large smashed into the fire pillar. Rumble. With a series of rumbles, the five-colored halo fell from the surface of the fire pillar to the bottom. Wherever the halo passed, whether it was the green water, the blood strands, or even the golden light, all of them were destroyed as easily as crushing dry weeds. The entire fire pillar instantly stabilized. My king! The armored demon race was overjoyed as it fell to the ground and shouted, "This little one deserves to die, fuck." Just as it was about to break free, the shackles that had just been broken through came crashing down again. The little white dragon sighed as its body was once again suppressed by the pillar of fire. However, just as it was about to be suppressed, the little white dragon's eyes suddenly lit up as it hurriedly opened its mouth to release a ball of soul strands. A series of crackling sounds rang out as a faint human figure that was invisible to the naked eye fell into the little white dragon's mouth. Damn it! Seeing that the fire pillar had finally stabilized and the entire Heaven Dam water prison was no longer shaking, Demon King Bai Qing's figure appeared from the five-colored light pillar. Although the Demon King's expression couldn't be seen clearly, his tone was abnormally angry. It was clear that he felt like he had lost face in front of the other two Demon Kings. Behind him, the Demon Kings of Shrouding Sky Ridge and Ancient Bell Mountain also revealed themselves. My king, spare me, spare me. The armored demon race was shocked as he fell to the ground and trembled. Just now, this little one was a bit lazy. What exactly happened? Bai Qing's Yuanshan swept across the Heaven Dam water prison and asked coldly. This. The armored demon race hesitated for a moment before replying, it seems like. Hearing this, Bai Qing flew into a rage and shouted, "When I was suppressing Xiao Hua, I made it clear that Xiao Hua was extremely important and could not be out of your sight at any time. Now that he almost escaped from the Heaven Dam Water Prison, how dare you say it seems like? Don't tell me you don't care about this prince's words?" Wu. Following this rage, on one side of Bai Qing's shell, a five-colored light pillar shot out from between the runes and grabbed the armored demon race. The demon light around the armored demon race dimmed instantly and cracks appeared on his shell. "My king, spare me, this little one is just." The armored demon race was really wronged. He hurriedly tried to explain, but at this moment, behind Bai Qing, another five-colored light flew over. An even angrier voice shouted, "Damn it, I just left for a moment and it actually caused such a big commotion." Boom. A fist-sized light pillar shot out from the five-colored light and blasted into the armored demon race's body. The cracked shell instantly shattered and the five-colored light pillar pierced through. "This daughter is wrong, I fell for the human race's trick of luring the tiger away from the mountain. Father, please punish me." Bai Bo's figure landed in front of the Heaven Dam Water Prison and immediately knelt on the ground to beg for forgiveness. Bai Qing naturally would not punish her daughter. She snorted coldly, "Yaoji, you are not strict enough with your subordinates. You must learn from this lesson and not be too kind to your subordinates. You must know that the human race has a saying, kind people are bullied and kind horses are ridden. Your kindness is weakness in the eyes of your subordinates." "Yes, my king, Yaoji understands." Bai Bo did not dare to say another word. "By the way, brother demon, I will go down and take a look later." Bai Qing ignored Bai Bo and said. "Hee hee." Peng Jun laughed and said, "We will wait for a moment. Brother Bai, please set up the restriction first." "Brother Peng, you must be joking." Bai Qing said a little awkwardly, "Previously, it was because we were too suspicious that we made such a big joke. At this point, if I set up the restriction again, wouldn't that be slapping my own face? Two demon brothers, please." Then, the three demon kings landed at the bottom of the fire pillar. Bai Bo also followed nervously. When she saw the blood splattered around the fire pillar, the bloody clothes on the side of the stone wall, the remains of Fairy Jing's body, and the five-colored beast skin on the ground, Bai Qing already understood a lot. A tentacle grew out from her demon body and took the beast skin. Then, she released her primordial thought and looked at Little White Dragon. "Xiao Hua, was it Li Jing who risked her life to save you?" "Little shell." Little White Dragon looked coldly at Bai Qing and replied disdainfully, "Aren't you very resourceful? Don't you already know? Do you still need to ask me?" Hee hee. Bai Qing didn't seem to be angry, as though Little White Dragon had already scolded her 1,000 times. She only smiled and said, "Do you know, other than this Li Jing, there are some humans who walk into a trap and get killed by my subordinates every day. They seem to be here to save you. Think about it, it's just telling this king about the origin of that thing. It won't harm you at all, nor will it affect you in any way. Why don't you say it? Today, Li Jing died. Tomorrow, there will be Wang Jing, Chen Jing, and all the girls who like you will die in front of you. Do you think this is interesting? Little shell." Little White Dragon laughed. "I have told you countless times. I don't know the origin of that thing at all. Li Jing's jade eyes weren't given by me at all. Where do you want me to find that thing for you? Besides, there's a saying in the human race. It's called, death might not be scary, but it's scary that death is as light as a feather. Li Jing died for the love in her heart and for Xiao Hua's survival. Her death is as heavy as a mountain. She died without regrets. This kind of death can move heaven and earth. Damn it." Bai Qing, who had been cursing Fairy Jing countless times, heard Little White Dragon's words and felt endless jealousy in her heart. However, what was extremely rare was that other than this jealousy, there was another feeling in her heart. She's just a descendant of the human race. She overestimated herself. If she dies, then so be it. Bai Qing keenly understood the meaning in Little White Dragon's words. She waved her hand and said, "From what I heard, the jade eyes she gave to me, weren't given by you? Then, you aren't Xiaohua." "Who said I wasn't Xiaohua?" Little White Dragon looked around, his gaze sweeping over Peng Jun, Ni Quan, Bai Qing, and even Bai Bo. A faint smirk appeared at the corner of his mouth. "Each and every one of you has asked this poor Taoist for several hundred years, and one of you even checked with a soul tool. This poor Taoist is naturally Xiaohua. Enemy." Seeing Little White Dragon smirk, Bai Qing cursed inwardly. All the bones in her body went limp, and the jealousy in her heart instantly disappeared without a trace. "Xiaohua, are you a human or a dragon?" Peng Jun restrained his temper and asked. "What do you think?" Little White Dragon didn't answer. Boom! Bai Qing's tentacle of light waved, and the several hundred feet tall pillar of fire instantly became transparent. Little White Dragon's body was revealed in the flames. Immediately, the entire pillar of fire shook again, and a ring of fire fell from above. Right around Little White Dragon's body, crimson-red flames mixed with a five-colored halo were born again. Roar! Little White Dragon roared, and that human-shaped shell was burned into a huge dragon body. Sigh. Following Peng Jun's sigh, Bai Qing raised her hand and the pillar of fire disappeared. Little White Dragon's body was covered in flames. Ha, ha. Little White Dragon's painful expression was somewhat ferocious. He seemed to know that he couldn't hide it anymore. While groaning, he laughed and said, "Ridiculous three little things, really pitiful. It's just a truth, and I hid it from you for hundreds of years. You say I'm smart? Or you're stupid? What do you two demon brothers say?" Bai Qing ignored Little White Dragon's sarcasm and turned to ask Peng Jun and Ni Quan. Ni Quan's expression didn't change, and he replied indifferently, "I don't care. A dead Xiaohua is more useful than a living Xiaohua. Also, I suggest that you don't need to deploy guards around Bai Qingyu anymore. Let those humans with evil intentions come in. We might as well hold a banquet and catch all of them in one fell swoop." Beside him, Bai Bo was shocked and hurriedly asked, "Father, you want to kill Xiaohua?" Bai Qing looked at Bai Bo dotingly and responded, waving her hand to signal her not to speak. Peng Jun's expression was a little ugly. He thought for a moment and shook his head. "Since this guy is from the dragon race and not Xiaohua, I have to report to Tsang Yuetian first. I hope Brother Bai won't make a move before I get the news from Tsang Yuetian." "Of course. However, I don't know how long Brother Peng will need." Bai Qing knew that this matter concerned Tsang Yuetian and he had to report to Star Concealing Lake, so he asked a few more questions. Chapter 43-58. Since this guy isn't Xiaohua, but a dragon, I'm afraid this is no longer something I can decide. Peng Jun didn't answer directly. Instead, he gave an ambiguous answer before cupping his hands, "I'll take my leave first. I'll immediately send the Sky Concealing Ridge's demons to assist Brother Bai." However, before Peng Jun could fly up, a faint light shone from high up in the Sky Dam water prison. A palm-sized beast skin landed in front of Bai Qing. Bai Qing was a little surprised. He knew that if it was an ordinary matter, his subordinate wouldn't dare to send it. There must be important information in this beast skin. Bai Qing nodded slightly at Peng Jun, and his consciousness entered the beast skin. Peng Jun was displeased. He cupped his hands at Ni Quan. "Brother Ni, are you coming with me? Or will you stay in Bai Qingyu for a few days?" Before Ni Quan could answer, Bai Qing's tone turned cold, and he said in a low voice, "Are you two demon brothers leaving now?" the Dragon Island's envoy is here. Hiss. Peng Jun and Ni Quan both sucked in a breath of cold air and exclaimed, Dragon Island actually really sent an envoy over? That's right. Bai Qing answered, the Dragon Envoy is 100 miles away from me. Hee, is the Dragon Envoy waiting for us to welcome him? Peng Jun sneered, the Dragon Island is really arrogant. Not only that. Bai Qing waved the beast skin in his hand and smiled. The Dragon Envoy said that if I, Bai Qingyu, suppress the Dragon Master of the Dragon Clan, he'll definitely massacre Bai Qingyu. Brother Bai, are you scared? Peng Jun asked with a faint smile. If it was yesterday. Bai Qing smiled, and answered, I would have already flown to the star-concealing lake to ask for help. But today, what do I have to be scared of? I even want to know, if this guy isn't Xiaohua, then who is he? What's his relationship with the Dragon Master and Xiaohua? Even if it was yesterday, would Brother Bai run away? Ni Quan asked with a smile. Of course. Bai Qing said seriously, after the 1,000 Demons' sacred realm, the Great Sage Hall doesn't fear the Dragon Island. Even the star-concealing lake has to avoid the Dragon Envoy of the Dragon Island. Unless Xian Kong Forest isn't scared? Scared, how can I not be scared? Ni Quan hurriedly replied, the Dragon Island is the island of the Dragon Clan. It commands all the Dragon Clans in the world. No one dares to disobey. Although there are many demon clans in the 1,000 Demon Sacred Realm, which demon clan can compare to the Dragon Clan? Let's not talk about Dragon Island's orders. Even if it's the Dragon Palace of the Four Seas orders, few demons in the 1,000 Demons Sacred Realm would dare to disobey, right? Bai Qing said with a smile. That might not be the case. Peng Jun, who had been silent all this while, smiled faintly and said, Dragon Island has been high and mighty for a long time now. I'm afraid it's no longer down to earth. If not for the support of the Dragon Palace of the Four Seas, when he spoke up to this point, Peng Jun stopped. On the other hand, Ni Quan blinked his eyes and smiled. Brother Peng, what do you mean by that? Forgive me for being inferior to the human race, but I can't understand the meaning behind it. This old man didn't say anything. How could Peng Jun say anything else? He looked at Bai Qing and smiled. Brother Bai, are you going to leave the Dragon Envoy of Dragon Island outside? Bai Qing looked at the two demon kings and smiled. How would this old man dare to neglect the Dragon Envoy? Aren't I waiting for the two demon brothers to come with me to welcome the Dragon Envoy of Dragon Island? Let's go together, let's go together. Ni Quan smiled. Previously, because we didn't speak frankly, we actually let this guy hide it for so long. Now is the crucial moment. If we don't work together, how can there be any trust in the future? Indeed. Peng Jun nodded. If it's just Bai Qingyu alone, the Dragon Envoy of Dragon Island might not care. Bai Qingyu, Ancient Bell Mountain, and Sky-Concealing Ridge might not be in the Dragon Envoy's eyes, but what about Star-Concealing Lake, Xian Space Forest, and Sangyu Heaven? This old man doesn't know. If Brother Peng wants to know, you can ask the Dragon Envoy of Dragon Island. Bai Qing laughed loudly and flew to the exit of the Heavenly Dam Water Prison. Peng Jun and Ni Quan also caught up. Bai Qing's body moved a little. He looked at the little white dragon, but in the end, he didn't follow. After the three demon kings left, that conch girl flew over timidly. Looking at Bai Qing, she lowered her head and didn't dare to speak. Darling Xiao. Bai Qing looked at the little white dragon's face and didn't know what to say. He only called out and then hesitated. You're actually not Xiaohua. You've deceived me for so many years. Alas, Bai Qing. The little white dragon sighed. It's not that I want to hide it from you, but I don't want to make things difficult for you. If you knew that I'm not Xiaohua, what would you do? Hide it from that little shell, or tell it. Besides, whether I'm Xiaohua or not, it doesn't matter. I still only have you in my heart. Humph. A sweet smile appeared at the corner of Baibo's mouth, but she still snorted coldly. What little shell? That's my demon king, Bai Qingyu's father. Speaking until here, her gaze was like lightning. She glanced at the conch girl and said, "Do you only have me in your heart? If it's only me, I'll kill this little slut right now." Yao. No, your highness, spare me. The conch girl's expression changed greatly, and she hurriedly knelt down in midair. What's the point of this? The little white dragon said in a low voice. I won't live for more than a few days anyway. Why do you have to make my heart ache? Bai Qing pursed her lips, not knowing what she was thinking. She then asked, that human slut just now, did she really die to save Xiaohua? N. The little white dragon nodded and told her what happened just now. He then warned, no matter what, Li Jing died for Xiaohua. In the future, you absolutely can't call her slut. Hee, of course, as long as she has nothing to do with you. I'll call her Fairy Jing now. Bai Qing replied with a laugh. The little white dragon glared at her and said, you'd better scram. In a while, your father and the 2 demon kings, as well as the dragon envoys from Dragon Island will come. Don't attract their attention. You care so much about my comfort? A sweet smile appeared on Bai Qing's face as she asked. Of course. You're my little sweetheart. Whether there's a moon or not, I'll sing in your ear in a low voice. I hope you'll have a peaceful life and a happy life. The little white dragon's sweet words came easily. You're such a sweetheart. Bai Qing pouted coquettishly. She wanted to pounce over and take a bite, but in the end, she was afraid of any accidents. She stomped her feet and turned into a ray of light, rushing towards the entrance of the cave. Hee. The conch girl also jumped up from midair, stuck out her tongue at the little white dragon, and also flew up. After less than an hour, outside the water prison, a loud and clear dragon roar could be heard from the horizon. The dragon envoys from Dragon Island arrived on clouds. Although Peng Jun, Bai Qing, and Ni Quan were trembling with fear, guarding outside the water prison, not knowing how the dragon envoys from Dragon Island would deal with the little white dragon when they saw him, the little white dragon was very clear that his name was not legitimate. There was no record in Dragon Island's dragon policy. The dragon envoys would definitely not fall out with Bai Qingyu because of him. But too bad, although the little white dragon was somewhat prepared, the reality still told him that he had been overthinking things. The majestic dragon envoys landed on the ground alone, waving his hand and extinguishing half of the flame pillars. The dragon envoys looked at the little white dragon's dragon form, then asked him 2 questions expressionlessly. The first one was, are you Xiaohua? The second one was, are you Reverend Yun? To these 2 questions, the little white dragon only had one word to answer, no. Then, the dragon envoys once again controlled his dragon body and flew towards the entrance of the mountain with an expressionless face. The little white dragon's self-esteem was severely trampled. He could not help but cry out anxiously, Dragon Envoy, although I'm not Xiaohua, I'm his old acquaintance, and I'm also Reverend Yun's brother. How can you just leave like that, and ignore my life and death? The dragon envoys were about 1,000 feet high in the sky, but when they heard the little white dragon's words, they hesitated for a moment before stopping. Then, they turned and said, I'm here on the order of the elders of Dragon Palace to investigate. If you are Xiaohua or Reverend Yun, Dragon Island will rescue you, even if it means having to fight with the sacred realm of 1,000 demons. But too bad, you are not Xiaohua, neither are you Reverend Yun. So, why should I rescue you? But, before I leave, I'd like to give you a piece of advice. Wherever you go, please strictly abide by the local laws, and respect the local customs. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you are a dragon. Dragon Island can never shelter every single dragon. The little white dragon was struck dumb. He really did not expect that the dragon envoy would say something like that. To be honest, even though the little white dragon was suppressed in Bai Qingyu, his days were truly free and unfettered. He was so happy that he almost forgot about home. Not to mention Bai Bo and Conch Maiden throwing themselves into his arms, just the refinement of the fire pillar was not harmful to him at all. Instead, it was a form of tempering for him, a form of cultivation that was hard to come by. Therefore, for the past 200 years, the little white dragon had been foolishly pretending to be Xiaohua to tease the three demon kings. Until today, when Fairy Jing had fallen for Xiaohua, and Bai Qing had mentioned that she was doing it for him, many humans except Bai Qingyu had walked right into the trap. What was more, Bai Qingyu even had the intention of killing him. Therefore, the little white dragon had no choice but to consider escaping. When the dragon envoys of Dragon Island arrived, the little white dragon wanted to tell them the truth. Although he was not Xiaohua or Reverend Yun, he was, after all, the embodiment of dragon cleansing liquid, a rare existence among the dragons. But, when he saw the dragon envoy come alone without any dragon generals, he realized that the dragon envoy did not seem like he was going to rescue Xiaohua. If he claimed to be Reverend Yun, not to mention whether Bai Qing could help him and the dragon envoy escape, even Peng Jun would definitely turn hostile. Not only would he not be able to escape, but the dragon envoy would also fall. And, if the dragon envoy could escape safely, although he could not escape for the time being, the dragon envoy would definitely inform the dragon palace of his situation. Perhaps, he would still have a chance. But now, when he heard the dragon envoy's high-sounding statement, the little white dragon completely extinguished the thought of asking for help from Dragon Island. He stared at the dragon envoy's back and cried out in shock, "Are you the dragon envoy? Are you here to save me or to humiliate me?" Chapter 43-59. I am the envoy of Dragon Island. Unfortunately, you are not the master of the Dragon Clan. The Dragon Clan said proudly, "You are not qualified to listen to my words." Roar. The little white dragon roared angrily and watched the dragon envoy fly out of the heavenly dam water prison. Bai Qing and the other two demon kings stood outside the cave, worried about their gains and losses. Bai Qing even arranged for some elite disciples to lie in ambush around the water under Peng Jun's suggestion, just in case. When the three demon kings saw that the dragon envoy came up alone with the same expression as when he flew down, they were relieved. Bai Qing went up to him and said with a smile, "Lord Dragon Envoy, may I know if my actions have offended Dragon Island? Since you dared to suppress my dragon clan, you naturally offended Dragon Island." The dragon envoy replied, "However, Dragon Island has always abided by the non-fighting agreement between the demon clans. We will not condone the dragon clan who uses Dragon Island's name to make things difficult for the demon clans. Since this white dragon offended you, it is a personal grudge between you and him. Dragon Island will not meddle in it. Dragon Island is indeed a sacred place revered by both the human clan and the demon clan in the 3 continents and 4 seas." Bai Qing said with a smile, "I can't say for other places, but from the fairness of the envoy's incident, I know that Dragon Island is relying on you for its prosperity. In fact, when this one captured this dragon, this one already knew that this fellow was spouting nonsense. How could the dragon master of the dragon race be like this?" "Yes." The dragon envoy nodded proudly and said, "Since Bai Qing you didn't suppress the dragon clan member, then my mission is considered completed. I will take my leave now, Io, Lord Dragon Envoy." How could Bai Qing let go of such an excellent opportunity? He hurriedly stood in front of the dragon clan member and said with a smile, "Lord, why are you in such a hurry to leave? I have already prepared a banquet. After you have finished your tiredness, I will send you off. How about that?" "No need." The dragon envoy said proudly, the inspection of Dragon Island is very strict. Not to mention having a banquet here, even taking a primordial stone may be discovered by the inspectors. When Bai Qing heard this, she immediately understood. After sending a voice transmission to a demon next to her, she smiled and said, "If that's the case, I'll send the messenger out, amen." That dragon envoy nodded and took the lead to fly into the clouds, flying out of Bai Qingyu. The three demon kings, Bai Qing, Peng Jun, and Ni Quan, didn't dare to be negligent. They hurriedly moved their bodies and followed behind, wanting to send the dragon envoy out of Bai Qingyu. Seeing that the dragon envoy was about to fly out of Bai Qingyu, the demon that Bai Qing had sent a voice transmission to caught up with her and secretly handed a universe bangle to Bai Qing. Bai Qing looked at Peng Jun and Ni Quan and was about to send a voice transmission to the two demon kings. Suddenly, Peng Jun's eyes flashed with golden light and he shouted, "Where did this little thing come from? You actually dare to show off your abilities in front of us demon kings?" Along with this furious roar, Peng Jun spread his wings and pounced towards the air 10,000 feet to the left of Bai Qing. His sharp claws grabbed downwards, imprisoning the space within 100 feet. Even within that space, strands of hair-like spatial cracks appeared, damn it. Just as Peng Jun moved, Ni Quan, who was beside Bai Qing, also had a slight change in expression. He growled, "Lord Dragon Envoy of Dragon Island is right in front of us. Where did this little thing come from? How dare he use his abilities here? Isn't he looking down on us?" As he spoke, Ni Quan's figure flashed and pounced towards the place a few miles to the right of Bai Qing. Different from Peng Jun, Ni Quan's demon body flashed a string of shadows in the air. At the same time, the horn on the top of his head produced an oval-shaped halo. The halo was grayish-white and sealed the space within 1,000 feet. These two demon brothers are really perceptive. Bai Qing was overjoyed when he saw this. Just as he was about to speak to the dragon envoy of Dragon Island, he vaguely saw a yellow light flickering between the spatial cracks in the space imprisoned by Peng Jun's sharp claws. Then, a silver-white light pillar suddenly rushed out from the light pillar. Although the light pillar looked very weak, it was extremely strange. It actually shattered the space imprisoned by Peng Jun in a few breaths' time. Then, a yellow shadow flashed like the wind and a small mink figure rushed towards Bai Qingyu. Moreover, this small mink was exclaiming, "Damn it, why is Bai Qingyu's demon clan so powerful, ah?" Bai Qing was greatly shocked and looked at the small mink in disbelief. After all, Bai Qingyu was his demon realm. How could he not pay attention to the nearby movements? Moreover, because of the banquet, Bai Qingyu's entire realm was on guard. Although this place was not far from the border of Bai Qingyu, it was still within Bai Qingyu. This small mink actually sneaked in without being discovered. This kind of magical power was really rare. Bai Qing was shocked and hurriedly looked in Ni Quan's direction. Indeed, within a few hundred feet of the space controlled by Ni Quan, a silver-white light pillar also appeared. However, the difference was that a small dog like black lightning appeared there and actually broke through Ni Quan's control. The small dog even exclaimed with joy, "Haha, little yellow, I won. When it's time for the banquet later, you have to let me eat first." Damn it. Bai Qing was quite embarrassed and angry. Two little demons actually sneaked into Bai Qingyu right in front of his eyes and were even discovered by the demon kings of Shrouding Sky Ridge and Ancient Bell Mountain in front of the dragon envoy of Dragon Island. Oh. Not only was Bai Qing embarrassed and angry, but Ni Quan and Peng Jun were also a little surprised. After all, the strength that these two little things displayed was only at the light-gathering realm, or even the wisdom realm. However, their magical power of concealment and escape was something that the two demon kings had never seen before. If you escape, how can this king still have the face to stay in the Thousand Demons sacred realm? Ni Quan and Peng Jun said almost in unison and chased after them with their magical powers. As for the demon generals beside the three demon kings, they did not dare to delay and flew in other directions, hoping to intercept the two little demons. Bai Qing suppressed the embarrassment and anger in her heart. Seeing that there were fewer demons around, she smiled at the dragon envoy of Dragon Island and said, "My Bai Qing, you can't be compared to star-shrouding lake, let alone Dragon Island. I just wanted to hold a banquet and there are so many troubles. Today, two little things actually sneaked into Bai Qing you. If it weren't for the two demon brothers, I would have embarrassed myself. I've really made a fool of myself in front of the dragon envoy." The dragon envoy of Dragon Island's expression was still calm. He raised his dragon claw and waved it, saying, "These two little demons are very strange, Io." Bai Qing did not hear what the dragon envoy said. She suddenly exclaimed in surprise, "Lord Dragon Envoy, the wrist guard on your arm, where did you get it? I find it familiar no matter how I look at it." "Hee, that's a dragon weapon refined by my Dragon Island's great weaponsmith. It's impossible to see it in ordinary places." The dragon envoy was stunned. His calm expression relaxed a little as he answered with a faint smile. "Hiss." Bai Qing took a deep breath and exclaimed, "So it was refined by Dragon Island's great weaponsmith. No wonder it's so powerful. How about this, Lord Dragon Envoy? I've never been to Dragon Island and have never had the chance to meet this great weaponsmith. However, I really like this wrist guard. I wonder if you can part with it?" The smile on the dragon envoy's face deepened. However, there was a puzzled expression in his eyes as if he did not understand what Bai Qing was talking about. As Bai Qing spoke, she handed the heaven and earth bangle that the demon general took from earlier to the dragon envoy. She said earnestly, "This is what I'm going to trade with you. Of course, I know that this wrist guard is a priceless treasure. Compared to this wrist guard, what I want to trade is really insignificant. However, I really like this wrist guard. I hope you'll reluctantly accept it, Lord." "Huh." The dragon envoy's Yuanshan scanned the heaven and earth bangle and saw a lot of vitality stones inside. How could he not know the reason? He laughed loudly and his calm expression disappeared. "This wrist guard is of course a rare dragon weapon from Dragon Island. I didn't want to take it out to trade with you. However, seeing that you like it so much, I'll give it to you." "Fine, I'll grant you your wish." "Thank you, Lord Dragon Envoy." Bai Qing agreed ecstatically. She took the wrist guard from the dragon envoy and kept it happily. "I used to think that Dragon Island was an unreachable place. Now that I've met the dragon envoy, I know that the rumors are not true. Lord Dragon Envoy is really approachable." "Huh." The dragon envoy kept the heaven and earth bangle and smiled. Dragon Island is naturally an unreachable place for ordinary demon clans. However, to those demon clans who are close to Dragon Island, it's not a mysterious place. Yes, I understand." Bai Qing felt relieved and replied with an obsequious smile. "Lord Dragon Envoy, please." At this moment, in the sky far away, Peng Jun actually revealed the true form of a golden-winged roc. He flapped his wings and flew back. His sharp claws were holding Little Martin. Although Little Martin was captured by the golden-winged roc, he was still struggling with all his might. A yellow demon cloud appeared around him. Since Little Martin had been captured, the puppy would not be spared. On the other side, Ni Quan had also urged the demon cloud to fly over. There was also a black puppy in front of him, but this puppy was much more obedient than Little Martin. Its body was bound by a series of dual-colored light ribbons, and its two ears were swaying left and right, as if it was not afraid at all. The dragon envoy was about to fly away. However, when he saw Ni Quan and Peng Jun flying back, he was actually standing in midair. Bai Qing was a little surprised. She urged her body to fly in front of them and said loudly, "Demon brothers, where did these two little things come from?" "Huh." Peng Jun flew over first. He waved his sharp claws and threw Little Martin in front of Bai Qing. He laughed and said, "Ask them yourself." Humph. Bai Qing snorted coldly. A five-colored light column emerged from the shell and transformed into a fingerless giant hand in the air. It grabbed little Martin and asked, "What's your name? Why did you come to my Bai Qingyu?" Chapter 4360. Io. Little Martin shouted loudly in the demon language of the Thousand Demons' sacred realm. "What do you want to ask? Big brother, if you want to ask, just say it. If you don't ask, how will I know what you want to ask? Although you are looking at me with sincerity, you still have to tell me what you want to ask. Do you really want to ask? Go ahead and ask. You don't really want to ask, do you? Do you really want to ask? Io. Big brother, can't you be gentler? Just ask whatever you want to ask. Why do you have to be so violent? Are you going to let go? Are you going to let go? If you don't, I will tell all the demons in the Thousand Demons' sacred realm that you are bullying the weak. Little Martin spoke extremely quickly. He only took a few moments to finish these awkward sentences. Moreover, little Martin's voice was extremely pleasing to the ears. These words flowed into the ears of the demon clan members like flowing water. Not only was Bai Qing stunned, even the dragon envoy couldn't help but laugh. Damn it! Bai Qing only came to his senses after a while. He wanted to activate his demon power again but felt that it was inappropriate. He could only shout, "Didn't I already ask you? What's your name? Why did you come to my Bai Qingyu?" "My name is Little Yellow." Little Martin said seriously, "Of course I'm here for the banquet." For the banquet? Bai Qing was stunned. He suddenly recalled what Little Martin and Little Dog had said. He suddenly realized, "Are you here to attend the Qingbu banquet?" "Yes, yes, yes." Little Martin nodded his head like a chick pecking at rice. Saliva flowed out from the corner of his mouth. "Yes, it is the banquet." At this moment, Ni Quan also threw Little Black over. This little black dog was much more obedient than Little Yellow Martin. He only stood in the air timidly and didn't dare to say anything. "What's your name?" Bai Qing asked again. "Little Black." "Are you here for the banquet too?" "Yes." "Where did you and Little Yellow come from?" "Jianzhong Jiao." Bai Qing could not help but laugh when she heard the little black dog answering her every question without wasting a single word. It was completely different from the little yellow mink. She pointed at it and said, "What's the relationship between the two of you? Why is one so noisy and the other so taciturn?" "We're brothers." The little black dog and the little yellow mink said at the same time. "I'm the elder brother." I'm Big Brother." The black puppy, who was usually a man of few words, did not back down. It started to fight with the yellow mink. "Huh, interesting." The dragon envoy of Dragon Island said with a smile, "You two little things, the two of you look so different. You're not even from the same Yao clan. How can you be brothers?" "Brother Dragon." Little Yellow Mink struggled to stand up and said, "Little Black and I grew up with the same parents, how could we not be brothers? If they weren't brothers, how could he only have one father and mother? Those are the parents who raised you, not the parents who gave birth to you." The dragon envoy looked at the smart little yellow mink and said with pity, "Didn't your parents tell you who is the elder brother and who is the younger brother? We got separated from our parents." Little Yellow Mink was about to cry at the mention of their parents. "We found Bai Tsang Mountain at the corner of the forest, but we couldn't find them. So, we heard that there was a banquet here, so we rushed over to have a feast." "Humph, it's fine if you don't let us have a feast, but why did you kidnap us?" "Hee hee." The dragon envoy rolled his eyes and said with a smile, "Little Yellow, Little Black, have you heard of the Dragon Palace?" "Dragon Palace?" Little Yellow rolled his little eyes and nodded vigorously. Yes, yes, of course we've heard of it. I heard that there's a lot of good food in the Dragon Palace. That's right. The Dragon Envoy nodded. Not only is there good food in the Dragon Palace, if you follow me to the Dragon Palace, I'll ask the Dragon King to help you find your parents. Okay, okay. Little Yellow did not hesitate at all. He jumped up and shouted. But Little Black shook his head. Our parents are afraid of water. I heard that our parents were almost eaten by a python dragon. Io, that's right, that's right. I forgot. Goldie shook his head like a rattle drum. I'm not going, I'm not going. The Dragon Envoy opened his mouth again and wanted to say something. Peng Jun smiled and said, Lord Dragon Envoy, the border of Baiqingyu is just ahead. The three of us will send you there. The Dragon Envoy looked at Peng Jun with displeasure. His gaze swept past the two little things, seemingly unwilling to part with them. Milord, please. Ni Quan said with a fake smile on his face. Hee, please. The Dragon Envoy knew what the two demon kings meant. He only smiled and flew into the sky, far away. You wait here and watch over the two of them. Seeing that even the Dragon Envoy was moved, how could Bai Qing not know that these two little demons had some background? She hurriedly ordered and flew behind the Dragon Envoy. Little Yellow and Little White naturally heard about Xiao Hua's news and came to find an opportunity to save Xiao Hua. However, 200 years of experience in the Thousand Demons Sacred Realm and the hidden immortal continent had allowed them to grow a lot. They didn't attack foolishly, but wanted to see if they could find an opportunity to sneak into Baiqingyu. Seeing the three demon kings and the Dragon Envoy fly away, Little Yellow asked softly in his heart, Little Black, Father's aura is more obvious. He should be here. It seems like the rumors are true. Father was suppressed by these demon kings. We must sneak in and not attract their attention. What do you think we should do now? The two little things experienced the separation of yin and yang in Xiao Hua's space. They didn't realize it before they left the space, but after they started their training, they realized it again. Because they had been talking to Xiao Hua with their hearts since they were young, they didn't know when they learned the ability to talk to each other through their hearts. This was many times more powerful than some voice transmission. We'll act according to the situation. Although Little Black didn't say much, he had an idea in his heart. He replied, since these three demon kings didn't kill him immediately, we have a chance. Let's sneak into Baiqingyu first. As long as Father's aura is still there, he won't be in danger. Okay. Little Yellow agreed and immediately shouted, damn it, what's going on? Why did you leave us here and ignore us? Are you going to let us join this banquet or not? I'm hungry. Can't you give us some appetizers first? I say, big brother, how many delicacies did you prepare for the banquet? What are your family's chef's specialties? Goldie continued to blabber on like a chatterbox, spittle flying everywhere. Fortunately, his voice was very pleasant to the ears. Although the group of demons were a little impatient, they did not have to pay attention to the meaning behind his words. It was quite pleasant to the ears. On the other hand, Little Black still stood quietly in mid-air, not saying a word. In just half a meal's time, Bai Qing and the other two demon kings returned with a group of demon soldiers and demon generals. Peng Jun, who had said that he would leave first, wasn't in a hurry to leave now. The three demon kings looked at the captured Little Yellow and Little Black, each of them calculating their own plans and not in a hurry to speak. When the demon generals at the side saw this, they all bowed and dispersed. After a full meal's time, Bai Qing smiled at Peng Jun and said, Brother Peng, aren't you in a hurry to send a message to Zhang Yuetian? Now that the Dragon Envoy of Dragon Island has left, shouldn't you go back too? Hee. Peng Jun replied, Brother Bai isn't in a hurry to send a message to the Heavenly Dam Water Prison, why should I be in a hurry to send a message? Sigh. It was Ni Quan who spoke up and made things clear. Brother Bai, this little black dog was found by me and captured by me personally. You don't have to worry about it, right? Little Yellow. Peng Jun asked straightforwardly. I'm the Demon King of Covered Sky Ridge. When I left, I already ordered my boy subordinates to set up a banquet. As long as I leave, there will be good food. Are you willing to go back with me? Covered Sky Ridge isn't in the water, right? Little Yellow didn't hesitate at all and asked immediately. Of course not. Peng Jun smiled. I'm a golden-winged great rock, how can I live in the water? Okay. Little Yellow agreed. We'll go with you. Huh. Peng Jun laughed wildly and said to Bai Qing, Brother Bai, as we discussed earlier, this Little Yellow agrees to go with me. You can't stop it. Bai Qing didn't answer, but Ni Quan sneered. Brother Peng, don't be happy too early. Little Yellow said, Them? Peng Jun came to a realization, then said indifferently, It's fine if Little Black can come. My Covered Sky Ridge's banquet isn't lacking a seat. Little Black was found and captured by me. How can I let you take it away? Ni Quan refused without hesitation. Big brother, take us away. I'm hungry. Little Yellow struggled to fly in Peng Jun's direction and shouted, If you don't eat now, you'll starve to death. With that, Little Yellow's small body flipped in mid-air, and it rolled its eyes as if it was really starving to death. Ha ha ha. Bai Qing laughed and said, Boy, send some blood food over. Don't let it starve to death in my Bai Qing Yu. The demon race was particular about devouring. Not only did they devour Nebula Brilliance, but they also devoured demon cores and blood food. Bai Qing Yu naturally didn't lack blood food. In just a moment, a member of the Water Clan brought over 2 huge blood-dancing beasts. These blood-dancing beasts were the demon beasts that gathered around Bai Qing Yu. They had a lot of blood and flesh and tasted delicious. Huh. When Little Yellow saw the blood-dancing beasts, it climbed up in mid-air and flew to the side of the blood-dancing beasts that were dozens of times bigger than it. It stuck out its nose, and with a snort, a small silver brilliance sprinkled on the blood-dancing beasts. The blood-dancing beasts were originally restrained by the Water Clan and were obedient. However, when they saw the silver brilliance fall, they immediately struggled and even howled as if they were extremely terrifying. Chapter 43-61. Under the shocked gazes of the 3 demon kings, a faint shadow fell into the light and was sucked into Goldie's mouth and nose. As the shadow disappeared, the huge body of the blood dance beast withered at a speed visible to the naked eye. Layers of blood also fell into Goldie's stomach along with the light. When the blood dance beast turned into a pile of white bones, Goldie burped and lazily and contentedly rubbed its stomach with its little claws. It was very satisfied. Woof! Before the 3 demon kings could recover from their shock, Blackie barked again. The 3 demon kings hurriedly turned their heads and saw Blackie fly to the blood dance beast's side. It opened its mouth and the space in front of its head twisted slightly. When the distortion fell on the blood dance beast, the huge blood dance beast's entire body was pulled flat and elongated. After that, the blood dance beast was swallowed into Blackie's stomach like a leaf without much struggle. Hiss! The 3 demon kings sucked in a breath of cold air and looked at each other. Without waiting for Peng Jun and Bai Qing to speak, Ni Quan hurriedly shouted, Blackie was captured by me. None of you can have any ideas about him. Heh, Xiao Huang was captured by this old master. None of you can have any ideas about him. Peng Jun basically did not change a single word as he blurted it out. Bai Qing smiled and said, This is my territory. Blackie and Goldie are brothers. It's impossible for them to separate. After saying that, Bai Qing smiled and said to Blackie and Goldie, Don't you think so? What do you mean by don't? Goldie was full and became lazy. It didn't even want to speak. It lay in midair and almost used a tree branch as a toothpick. At this time, Blackie was also lying in the air. It stretched its limbs lazily and ignored Bai Qing's question. Brother Bai, what do you mean? Peng Jun and Ni Quan asked in unison. Nothing. Bai Qing smiled and said, it's the same as the two demon brothers. Damn it. Ni Quan cursed in his heart. He was also in a difficult position. If there were 3 of these strange demons, it would be easy to distribute them. However, there were only 2 of them, and they were in Bai Qingyu's territory. This made things difficult for the 3 demon kings. However, Ni Quan was well aware that there were countless demon clans in the Thousand Demons sacred realm. The pure-blooded demon clans, such as the golden-winged Great Peng Bird, the Flying Feather Void Beast, and the 5-colored Sea God Shell all had innate abilities, but these abilities were getting weaker with each generation. Unless a purer bloodline was born in a certain generation, only then would the demon race be revitalized again. However, he had never seen demons like Little Black and Little Yellow in the Thousand Demons sacred realm. Furthermore, from what the 2 of them had said, it was very likely that they were mutated demons. This kind of demon usually had divine abilities that ordinary demons could not reach. If this divine ability was fused with the bloodline of other pure demons, it was very likely that it would give the demon a new divine ability. Even if there was no such possibility, the 2 of them had such strange divine abilities at such a young age. When they grew up in the future, how powerful would they be? There was no way Ni Quan would let go of such a demon race with unlimited potential. No. Without waiting for Ni Quan to speak, Peng Jun immediately refused. Peng Jun's true form was the golden-winged Great Peng Bird. He was extremely arrogant, and his backer was the first great saint in the Thousand Demons sacred realm. How could he give in? There's nothing wrong with that. Bai Qing smiled slightly. If it were elsewhere, he would not directly clash with Peng Jun. However, this was his own demon realm, and he did not care about Peng Jun's thoughts. My 2 demon brothers. Seeing that the 2 demon kings in front of him were about to get angry, Ni Quan hurriedly said with a smile, I feel that our energy should be focused on the banquet. Although these 2 little things are cute, they are not particularly important. We can put it aside first and talk about it later. Who said they are not important? Peng Jun's eyes slanted as he looked at Ni Quan. Ni Quan still smiled and said, First, Brother Peng urgently needs to return to the Sky Concealing Ridge to send a message. Second, we don't know the origins of these 2 little things. Who knows if they have other intentions? Therefore, I think it's better to let these 2 little things stay with Brother Bai for the time being. Anyway, he has a lot of blood food here. We don't have to worry about these 2 little things eating. Peng Jun still wanted to say something, but Ni Quan transmitted a few words. Peng Jun narrowed his eyes and looked at the 2 little things, then turned to Bai Qing and said, Then I'll have to trouble Brother Bai. Leave Goldie with Bai Qingyu for the time being. After the banquet, we'll discuss it again. Farewell. After Peng Jun finished speaking, he wanted to show off. He raised his head and let out an eagle's cry that shook 100 miles. Then, he spread his wings and his whole body glowed with demon light. Brother Bai. Ni Quan didn't stay any longer. He also cupped his hands and glanced at Xiao He, who was in a daze in the air. He spread his wings and a vague shadow soared into the sky and quickly disappeared. Humph. After the 2 demon kings left, Bai Qing snorted coldly. The colorful halo above the shell turned into 2 light pillars and fell on Blackie and Goldie. The light pillars rushed into the shackles that the 2 demon kings had placed on the 2 little ones like a spiral. With a crackling sound, these shackles were torn into pieces by the halo. Goldie and Blackie were overjoyed. Just when they wanted to move, Bai Qing snorted coldly again, "Two damn little things, how can I not know what you're thinking? How dare you play hard to get in front of me?" As he spoke, the halo that broke the restriction suddenly intensified, and completely bound the two little ones who were not prepared. "Tell me, who sent you here?" Bai Qing snorted coldly. The halo shrank rapidly and squeezed the two little bodies into a ball. "Ouch, it hurts so much. Big brother, why did you suddenly turn hostile?" Goldie shouted loudly, "If you don't want us to eat the banquet, you can ask the big brother just now to take us away. Don't play dumb in front of me." Bai Qing did not care about Goldie's coquettish behavior at all. With a wave of the halo, she threw the two little ones in front of the demon generals and said, "Suppress them first." Yes. The demon generals naturally did not understand Bai Qing's thoughts, but they did not dare to be negligent. Several demon clan members took the two little ones away in a hurry. Damn it. Goldie was a little confused. He said to Blackie in his mind, "How did this guy see through it?" He didn't see through it. Blackie said coldly, "He's really playing hard to get." Oh, no, or is it a show of strength? He has some doubts, but he doesn't have any evidence. He doesn't want the two of us to be taken away by the two demon kings, so he suppressed the two of us first, so that the two demon kings can't take us away. This guy is so cunning. Goldie understood immediately and cursed silently. If he wasn't cunning, how could he suppress Father? Blackie said with a smile, "If only he could put us together with Father." That's right. Time has wings. It's been more than 200 years since I last saw Father. I really miss him. Goldie actually had some literary talent and could not help but sigh with emotion. Do you think Father will be especially surprised to see us? At the mention of Xiao Hua, Blackie became more talkative, and the expression on his face also became rich. He will definitely scold us. Goldie said with a smile, "In the past, when we were at his knees, we never felt that he was good to us. In these 200 years, the more experience we have, the more we understand his heart. He would rather be tortured than let us save him. Now that we have grown up, it's time for us to share his burden." Blackie was held by the demon generals. He looked at the distant luster and said resolutely. Seeing the demon generals take the two little ones away, Bai Qing's mood became better. Blackie had guessed his thoughts correctly. How could he let go of Bai Qing's two little ones? No matter if the two little ones came for Xiao Hua or not, he had to suppress them. He had to put the two little ones together with Xiao Hua. As for the arrival of the Dragon Island's dragon envoy, it blew away his last bit of worry, making him not have any fear. As for whether this Xiao Hua was the same Xiao Hua or not, he did not care at all. Because, according to the records, the seven-colored conch's jade eye was given to Fairy Jing by Xiao Hua. Fairy Jing died to save this Xiao Hua. Didn't Fairy Jing's death mean that this Xiao Hua in the dragon body was the Xiao Hua that Fairy Jing knew? Bai Qing had heard Little White Dragon's words countless times in these 100 years. How could he believe it? As for Fairy Jing's death, he did not care about it at all. As he said, there were dozens of such human descendants in the thousand-beast sacred realm, if not more than 100. Whether this little white dragon was the Xiao Hua that Peng Jun was looking for or not, that was not Bai Qing's concern. Moreover, even if this little white dragon did not know the whereabouts of the seven-colored conch, what he said was true. Since the news of the Qing banquet had been spread out, the real Xiao Hua would naturally come. Bai Qing could also capture the real Xiao Hua and complete the mission given by the old ancestor. Bai Qing thought as he flew. He arrived at a mountain ridge that was not far from the heavenly dam water prison. It was like an ingot that rose from the water. Looking from afar, there were high platforms on all sides and a flat ground in the middle. It was like the main hall of the Demon King's cave. It's here. Bai Qing's vital sense swept over. He stopped and laughed, since I, Bai Qingyu, want to hold the Qing banquet, there must be a place to set up the banquet. This place is good. Boys, clean up this place. After this king asks for the old ancestors' order, we will hold a banquet here. Invite all the humans and demons who attacked my Bai Qingyu here and let them take the initiative to deliver their flesh and blood. We will drink human blood and eat human flesh. The banquet will last for 3 days. Yes, yes, this humble one understands. The demons were overjoyed and shouted, "Thank you for your grace, your majesty. We like the flesh and blood of human cultivators the most. It is both tough and nutritious." Chapter 43-62. Not to mention Bai Qingyu, the demons were ready to open up their defenses and set up a banquet at the trap designated by demon monarch Bai Qing. All the human cultivators who came to the Thousand Demon Sacred Realm to save Xiao Hua would become food for the banquet. There was a low hill hundreds of thousands of miles away from Bai Qingyu. The hills were high and low, covering thousands of miles. There weren't many giant trees in the area of the hills, only a type of greenish-purple vine as thick as a thumb could be seen all over the area. There were also four-cornered leaves on the vine. These leaves swayed with the wind and made rustling sounds. Under the moonlight, the leaves and vines glowed with triangular phosphorescent lights. Amidst the phosphorescent lights, dozens of black figures less than 3 feet tall stepped on the demonic cloud. They brushed against the vines as they slowly flew into the depths of the hills. Under the moonlight, the group of black figures wore strange armor and didn't show their faces. The armor was also suffused with a dark green color. Under the dark green color, there was a thick blood-red color that even the moonlight couldn't wash away. As the dozens of black figures flew, the black figure in front suddenly stopped. Without the black figure making any hand gestures, the other black figures immediately scattered and crouched on the hill as if they were well trained. "It's here." That black figure released his primordial thought and said after looking around. "Yes." When the black figures heard and answered in a low voice, they straightened up and flew in different directions for a while before releasing their primordial thought. The black figure in front raised his hand and took off the armor on his head, revealing the face of a demon. Wasn't it Ingpo of the Luoy Merchant Union? Not long after, the scouting clansman returned and reported in a low voice, reporting to Patriarch, "There's nothing strange in the vicinity." "Good, follow me down." Ingpo nodded his head in satisfaction. He activated his demonic energy and demonic clouds appeared around his armor. His entire body then disappeared down the hill. Seeing Ingpo move, the other clansmen also activated their demon clouds and followed him down. Ingpo flew straight for a few miles, and saw that the demon clouds around the armor were getting thicker and thicker, and some of the demon characters on the armor were beginning to tremble. Only then did he stop. Immediately after, Ingpo took out a palm-sized paper crane from his bosom. He opened his mouth and spat out a stream of demonic chi. When the demonic chi landed on the paper crane, a wave was generated and several strands of righteous chi rushed into the surrounding void. With a boom, the righteous chi landed on the paper crane. The paper crane was visibly full and in just a moment, it turned into a lifelike red-crowned crane. The red-crowned crane let out a clear cry and flew in another direction with clouds surging around its body. "Let's go." Ingpo turned around and looked at his clansmen. Each and every one of them had a serious expression on their faces, and there wasn't the slightest bit of hesitation on their faces. Feeling satisfied, he waved his hand and said. Just like that, the red-crowned crane flew in front of him while Ingpo and his clansmen followed behind. After flying for the time it took for an incense stick to burn, a faint wisp of smoke appeared on the red-crowned crane's body. It was spontaneously combusted. At this point, Ingbo's vigilance was much lower. He clapped his hand and took out a fist-sized pearl. His left hand actually formed a seal, which seemed to be a Taoist technique. A ray of brilliance hit the pearl, and the pearl emitted a watery light screen. Ingbo held the pearl and looked around carefully. The light screen clearly reflected the situation within 100 miles around him. After confirming that it was safe, Ingbo put away the pearl and took out a beast skin. Clan leader. A demon behind Ingpo, who seemed to be very close to him, couldn't help but whisper, "This is a relatively barren place in the Thousand Demons' sacred realm. It's not suitable for any demon to live here. Just now, we didn't see any other demon on our way here. Moreover, this place is so far from the ground. It's unlikely that any other demon would discover our tracks, right?" Ingpo didn't care about anything else. He opened his mouth and spat another mouthful of demon aura onto the beast skin. The beast skin began to shrink, and several rays of moon and star power also fell from the void. Finally, it transformed into the appearance of a spirit mouse. This spirit mouse sniffed and began to fly in another direction. "Let's go," Ingpo ordered. His body moved, and then he whispered to the demon, "Chu Jing, although you say so, after all, this concerns the life and death of my clan and the survival of the Luo-Yi Merchant Alliance. I have to be careful." "Huh, it's our Luo-Yi Merchant Alliance." The demon named Chu Jing naturally couldn't refute. He smiled and whispered, "How could other demon clansmen have so many different methods to avoid being tracked?" The spirit mouse flew in front of them for half a meal's time. Suddenly, a thought swept over from afar. That thought landed on Ingpo. After a brief inspection, it retracted like a stream. Then, as the spirit mouse slowly shrank, a yellow halo appeared in the distance. Ingpo and the other demonic beasts stopped and waited for the halo to fly over. The halo passed by dozens of demonic beasts. Every time it passed by a demonic beast, the demonic beast would mysteriously disappear. When all the demonic beasts had disappeared, the halo also disappeared. When Ingpo appeared again, he was already in a huge space. Clan leader. A few elders who were also dressed in battle armor came forward to greet him. Behind these elders, there were thousands of demon clan members in the surrounding space. These demons looked very similar to Ingpo. However, they didn't utter a word. Instead, they stood up respectfully. Ingpo seemed to be a little dizzy. When he steadied himself, he saw that the underground space was so big and there were so many clansmen in front of him. He couldn't help but be shocked. He said in surprise, Why are you all here?" The elder in front had a smile on his face. He didn't explain much and only said, "I've already told them about clan leader's intention." However, they knew that spiritual master Xiao was imprisoned by Bai Qingyu. Clan leader gave up the position of clan leader and arranged the affairs of the Luo-Yi Merchant Alliance. He was prepared to bring a few clansmen that spiritual master Xiao taught personally to Bai Qingyu. They didn't follow clan leader's arrangement at all and followed me here. Ingpo looked at so many clansmen and elders and felt warm in his heart. He opened his mouth but didn't know what to say. In the end, he said in a low voice, "I only asked Great Elder to bring a few hundred clansmen who were willing to sacrifice their lives for spiritual master Xiao to follow me to Bai Qingyu. Yes, clan leader even said that he would return the position of clan leader to us here." Great Elder looked at Ingpo and said with a smile, "It's a pity that I told the elders about this." Not only did they disagree, but all of the clansmen were also unwilling. "I thank you on behalf of spiritual master Xiao." Ingpo looked at his clansmen and felt really happy. He actually imitated the human race and bowed to the clansmen. How could Great Elder and the others let him bow? They hurriedly helped him up and said, "Clan leader, you've really underestimated us. Although we had some conflicts with spiritual master Xiao back then, that was because we weren't familiar with him. Since we know that spiritual master Xiao is a righteous person and is also the benefactor of our clan, even if we have to give up the lives of our entire clan, we'll still go and rescue him. It's good that Great Elder has such intentions." Ingpa steadied his mind and said, "The rise of our clan and the prosperity of the Luo-Yi Merchant Alliance today is all thanks to spiritual Master Xiao. Therefore, if he's in trouble, I can't ignore it. Our clan can't ignore it." However, since spiritual Master Xiao was suppressed by Bai Qingyu, we already know what kind of background Bai Qingyu has. What we're doing now is akin to striking a stone with an egg. I can give up my life, and so can my clansmen. However, our clan can't be exterminated, and our Luo-Yi Merchant Alliance can't disappear. We have to take our time and plan carefully. Sigh, that's right. I also told our clansmen that. Fourth Elder and the others at the side were somewhat helpless. But they said that they only listened to clan leader. Since spiritual Master Xiao is our benefactor, we must rescue him even if we have to sacrifice our lives. Bitterness appeared on Ingpo's face. He raised his eyes to look in Bai Qingyu's direction and said, "If we can rescue spiritual Master Xiao with our lives alone, then it'll be simple." At this point, Ingpa shook his head and tried his best to get rid of some distracting thoughts. He said, "Forget it, let's not talk about it anymore. Since we're already here, elders, let's quickly discuss and arrange as many clansmen as possible to attack Bai Qingyu with me. After all, the disciples of the Soaring Dragon Mountain Range are still waiting for my news there." "How many disciples of the Soaring Dragon Mountain Range are here?" First Elder asked worriedly. "They're humans. It won't be easy for them to go so deep into Bai Qingyu, right?" Ingpa looked to the left and said in a low voice, "According to the reliable news obtained by the Merchant Alliance, the Soaring Dragon Mountain Range has already been discovered by the Confucian cultivators. The Immortal Palace has issued a punitive order and is preparing to attack the Soaring Dragon Mountain Range." Isn't this adding frost to the snow?" All the elders turned pale with fright. "Sigh, that's right." Ingpa smiled bitterly. Spiritual Master Xiao has been away from the Soaring Dragon Mountain Range for 200 years. During this time, there were some news from the hidden Immortal Continent and the Thousand Demon Sacred Realm. Those disciples of the Soaring Dragon Mountain Range had always thought that spiritual Master Xiao was training in the three continents. They didn't expect news of Bai Qingyu to come. He was actually suppressed in Bai Qingyu for more than 200 years. Do you think those disciples can live peacefully? Not to mention the Immortal Palace's punitive expedition, even if the Soaring Dragon Mountain Range collapses now, they'll still risk their lives to save spiritual Master Xiao. That's true. Even we're here. How can they not come? First Elder also had a bitter expression as he said, "Even if they know that the forces of the Soaring Dragon Mountain Range are absolutely no match for Bai Qingyu, they'll still throw eggs at a rock. When I rushed here from the hidden Immortal Continent, I received a message from Xiong Yi. Other than Li Xiang, who brought the necessary human disciples to guard the mountain and prepare to resist the Immortal Palace's punitive expedition, the other human and demon disciples all came out in full force to Bai Qingyu." Ingpa answered, "They asked for a map of the Thousand Demons' sacred realm and chose a place to gather there, waiting to meet up with me." Chapter 43-63. Have you decided on a specific time? The second elder asked. More or less, but not a specific time. However, Xiong Yi and the others are all nascent soul cultivators. Although their disciples have disguised themselves and sneaked into the Thousand Demons' sacred territory, they should be faster than me. Ingpa answered, "Therefore, we need to discuss this matter quickly. The longer we delay, the easier it is for Bai Qingyu to discover them." We understand." The first elder nodded. He pondered for a moment before saying, "In this old man's opinion, the Patriarch's decision to work with the Soaring Dragon Mountain Range's disciples was the best decision. Now that several thousand of our people are here, it will be troublesome if we continue to work with them." Ingpa naturally knew about Great Elder's private thoughts, but he didn't blame him. He nodded and said, "Great Elder is right. I'll write a Jade Eye scroll and have a reliable disciple send it over. We'll just set a time to launch a surprise attack on by Qingyu. Hearing Yingpo's advice, the great elder was even more delighted. He echoed, "These disciples of the soaring Dragon Mountain range are all humans. I'm afraid it's inconvenient for them to move around in the Thousand Demons' sacred realm. Patriarch, why don't you send a few dozen elite disciples to lead the way for them?" "Very good." Yingpo nodded with a smile. Just as he was about to give the order, he noticed something was wrong and asked in a low voice, "Where are the 7th and 9th elders?" "Oh." A trace of embarrassment appeared on the first elder's face as he answered, "This old man was afraid that there would be no one to deal with the matters in the merchant union, so I left them behind." Yingpo didn't mind. He was very clear in his heart. If a palm stretched out, 5 fingers wouldn't be the same. He couldn't expect the elders to think the same way as him. In less than half a cup of tea's time, Yingpo had selected the people to contact the Fortune Gate's disciples. He also gave them the jade eye pendant he had written, and gave them some instructions before sending them away. Yingpo then discussed with the elders on how to rescue Xiaofan from the jaws of death. Under the night sky, several dozen demonic beast clans set off again. They were heading towards a vast forest in the Thousand Demons' sacred territory. At this time, at the edge of the forest, there were already a few bird-type demons flapping their wings and circling in the sky. These demons were different from ordinary demons. They did not fly far away, only a few dozen miles away. Whenever there was any movement, they would leave and land to investigate carefully. The moon fell and the stars were sparse. Dawn gradually appeared in the east. A few beast-like monsters slowly flew out from the mountain ridge in the distance. After these monsters flew out, they didn't directly fly forward. Instead, they scattered. After half a cup of tea's worth of time, another dozen or so human cultivators flew out from the mountain ridge. These human cultivators all held magic treasures in their hands and looked very cautious. After these human cultivators flew past, even more human cultivators flew out. Caw. A few birds in the sky saw this and let out a few low cries. Except for one bird that was still circling in the sky, the others all rushed down and flew towards these human cultivators. When the birds landed, a nascent soul cultivator in a Taoist robe flew out from the mountain ridge. This nascent soul cultivator had a red face, a pair of broom-like eyebrows, and a pair of leopard-shaped eyes. He looked very powerful without being angry. Behind this nascent soul cultivator, there was a pigeon bird that was about 2 zhang in size following closely behind. Wasn't this nascent soul cultivator Changyu, who was still a late-stage gold core cultivator when Xiaofan left the soaring Dragon Mountain range? Apart from being a lot younger, this Changyu's appearance didn't change much from before. Caw, caw. Once the pigeon bird flew out, it immediately cawed and rushed into the sky, as if it wanted to meet up with the other birds in the distance. As soon as the pigeon moved, Changyu was startled. In order to not attract the attention of the demonic beasts, he didn't dare to release his divine sense too much. Changyu was about to stop the pigeon, but when he saw the bird in the sky, a smile appeared on his face. He muttered to himself, "I've wronged you during this period of time, I'll let you have some fun." As he spoke, Changyu had already released his divine sense. A moment later, another divine sense swept across the sea of trees in the distance. Seeing this, Changyu let out a long laugh and turned his head, saying, "Disciples, there are already Fortune Gate's disciples ahead. This place is already safe. Let's hurry over and meet up with your senior Uncle Lan and senior Uncle Xiong Yi." The dozens of gold core disciples in the surroundings were already pale. Their Taoist robes were tattered and blood-stained. It was obvious that they had encountered many demonic beasts along the way. When they heard Changyu's words, they were overjoyed. No longer hiding, they spurred their figures and flew into the distance. Changyu wasn't in a hurry. He waited until the several thousand disciples had flown away before he turned into a streak of light and landed in the sea of trees. Before he could land, he saw another cloud flying out from the forest. On that cloud was Xiaohua's other disciple, His Highness Lan. His Highness Lan was no different from when Xiaohua left. Seeing Chang Yu fly away, he smiled and said, "Junior brother Chang, you've worked hard." "Greetings, senior brother." Chang Yu didn't dare to be negligent. His figure appeared in the streak of light, and he bowed respectfully from afar. "Junior brother is not tired." "Junior brother thanks senior brother for coming to greet me." "You're welcome." His Highness Lan helped Chang Yu up and said with a smile, "You and I are senior brother, why be so polite?" "Yes, senior brother's teachings are right," Chang Yu replied. His tone was as respectful as ever. Although His Highness Lan and Chang Yu were both Xiaohua's disciples, His Highness Lan was already a nascent soul disciple when he entered the Fortune Gate, while Chang Yu was only a late-stage Gold Core disciple. After Xiaohua left, the Fortune Gate was led by Li Xiang, Xiong Yi, and Lan. The three of them were in charge of the Fortune Gate's affairs. Chang Yu later cultivated painstakingly and often received guidance from the three nascent soul senior brothers. Only then did he step into the nascent soul realm. In these 200 years, the Fortune Gate was divided into three factions, just like Xiaohua's plan. Chang Yu was the last to enter the Fortune Gate. Although he had also accepted disciples, most of them were below the Gold Core realm. If he wanted to compete with the three nascent soul senior brothers, he was still too weak. Most of the disciples he brought to the Thousand Demons sacred grounds were Li Xiang's disciples. His disciples were left behind in the soaring Dragon Mountain range. As he spoke, Chang Yu looked around and asked curiously, "Where's senior brother Xiong Yi? Why isn't he here yet?" "He, that's right." A trace of confusion appeared on His Highness Lan's face. "Previously, I received a message from a flying beast. I thought senior brother Xiong had arrived. Who knew that you would be one step ahead of me? Senior brother Xiong must have encountered some powerful demonic beast, right?" "That's right," Chang Yu replied with lingering fear. "Previously, I always heard that the Thousand Demons sacred grounds was a demonic beast clan's sacred grounds, and it was definitely not a place that humans could enter. However, after today's trip, I found out that those words were not false. In fact, there were some reservations. Without a cultivation of 5th grade origin force, it's impossible to enter the Thousand Demons sacred grounds freely. Up until now, I've lost more than 40% of my disciples. How can one achieve 5th grade origin force?" His Highness Lan was also worried. He replied, "One has to be at least a mid-6th grade origin force to succeed." "6th grade origin force?" Chang Yu smiled bitterly. "That's the spirit-severing realm. I don't even dare to think about it." "That's right." His Highness Lan turned to look at Bai Qingyu and said in a low voice, "The future of this trip is uncertain. Not to mention the astral projection realm, we don't even know if we can step onto the hidden immortal mainland again. There are some paths that we can choose not to take, but there are some paths that we have to take even though we know it's a dead end." Chang Yu narrowed his eyes and said resolutely, "Even if there's fear in your heart, let's toughen up. Let our hearts be numb. Junior brother is right." His Highness Lan smiled and looked at the rising sun. "Sometimes, we have to make some choices. Although this decision is a little difficult, I don't think this decision is difficult at all. Master's kindness to us is as heavy as a mountain. All these years, Master hasn't returned to the mountain. I didn't expect that he would be imprisoned by the Bai Qingyu demon clan." Chang Yu continued, "After hearing this news, I couldn't sleep at night. If we don't save Master, I'll die in Bai Qingyu with Master. Senior brother Xiong should be here by now, right?" His Highness Lan turned to another mountain ridge and asked with a frown. "That's right. He should have arrived yesterday, right?" Chang Yu looked at the mountain ridge worriedly. "He should have met with some danger." His Highness Lan seemed to have made a decision. He turned and said, "Junior brother Chang, you rest here first. I'll bring a few disciples over to take a look, I'll go too." Chang Yu said without hesitation. "Although I've just stepped into the nascent soul realm, I can still be of help. Junior brother, you've just arrived. You should rest first. Besides, if both of us go, who's going to keep watch here?" His Highness Lan didn't want Chang Yu to go. Chang Yu hesitated for a moment and shook his head. "Senior brother's disciples can keep watch here. I'll go with senior brother to welcome senior brother Xiong." "All right." His Highness Lan nodded helplessly and led Chang Yu into the forest. After a while, 2 nascent soul cultivators led a dozen late-stage golden core disciples and flew toward a mountain ridge. Past the mountain ridge was a dangerous place. The mountain ridge was full of cliffs. Not only was there no vegetation on the mountain, there weren't even complete rocks. The river between the mountain ridge was also emitting a fishy smell. There were many whirlpools and white foam in the river water. Sharp stones were stepping out of the river surface. Not long after, there would be fish floating up from the bottom of the river with their bellies upside down. Chang Yu's gaze swept over the place. His expression didn't change. He released his divine sense to look into the distance. He knew that it was because of this dangerous place that there were fewer demonic beasts. Xiong Yi had to bring thousands of disciples through this place safely. After flying for another half a cup of tea, they didn't see Xiong Yi's figure. Similarly, they didn't see any demonic beasts. Chang Yu and the others appeared in a dark pool. The surface of the pool was covered with a layer of strange algae, which was iron-black in color. Between the algae, there were lotus pod-like demonic herbs poking out of the pool. Some of the lotus pods were very small, only the size of a fist, while some were extremely large, at least a few feet long. Some of these lotus pod heads were blooming, while others were wrapped. There were many more. Chapter 43-64. Chang Yu didn't seem to mind. His gaze swept across the sky, and his figure continued to streak across the sky. At this time, Prince Lan suddenly slowed down. He turned around and asked, "Junior brother Chang, I suddenly thought of something and wanted to ask junior brother." "He, senior brother, please speak." Chang Yu answered without hesitation. "Do you think it's not worth it for us to send out the entire Fortune Gate to save Master?" Chang Yu was stunned. He asked in confusion, "What does senior brother mean?" There's nothing else. Just like you, even though I arrived a few days earlier, I encountered many demonic beasts and demonic beast clans along the way. 40% of the disciples I lead have been killed. Moreover, according to the investigation of the demons in the sect, Baiqingyu was an extremely dangerous place in the Thousand Demons sacred realm, just like the information from the Luo-Yi Merchant Union. That demonic beast king has the strength of an 8th grade origin Qi realm cultivator, and even Master has been imprisoned by that demonic beast king. If we go there, wouldn't it be like hitting a rock with an egg? That's right. Chang Yu nodded. Even though Master is powerful and can definitely reach the 7th or 8th grade origin Qi realm in the future, he is still too young. He can't compare to the demonic beast clans in the 1,000 demonic sacred grounds who have lived for hundreds of thousands of years. Moreover, our Fortune Gate's foundation is too weak, and we can't compare to Baiqingyu. Moreover, the soaring Dragon Mountain Range has been discovered by the Immortal Palace, and they are about to launch a punitive expedition against our Fortune Gate. If we don't focus on resisting the Immortal Palace and look for reinforcements, even if we manage to save Master, he might not be happy, right? Chang Yu was taken aback. He stopped and raised his head to look at Prince Lan. He asked curiously, "Junior brother doesn't understand senior brother's words. The Fortune Gate is Master's Fortune Gate, and we are all Master's disciples. If we don't come to Master's rescue when he's in trouble, can we still be considered Master's disciples? Moreover, even though our fortune gate is facing the immortal palace, if we rescue Master, with Master's ability, wouldn't the soaring Dragon Mountain range be the same as the Black Wind Ridge? We can make a comeback. How confident do you think we are in rescuing Master? Prince Lan asked with a smile. Chang Yu answered without any hesitation, less than 5%. Yeah. Prince Lan pointed at the Golden Core disciples behind him and sneered, these Golden Core disciples and the tens of thousands of Golden Core and Foundation Establishment disciples in the forest are bait. Their deaths will attract Bai Qingyu's demons while we and the other demons in the sect will take advantage of the chaos to find where Master is imprisoned. This plan is not bad, but has Junior Brother ever thought about it? Were the lives of these Golden Core disciples not worth their lives? Was Bai Qingyu an ordinary place? An 8th grade origin Qi realm beast king, even if there are 10 masters, even if all of our Fortune Gate's disciples were to gang up on him, they still wouldn't be a match for one of his fingers. Hiss. Chang Yu shivered and was shocked. He hurriedly looked around and flew away to put some distance between him and His Highness Lan. Then, he said coldly, His Highness Lan, what do you mean by that? Don't tell me, you don't want to save Master? Chang Yu. Prince Lan didn't press the issue. Instead, he shook his head and said, it's not that I don't want to save Master. The problem was that this so-called banquet was obviously a trap, and it was obviously meant to lure us into the trap. Since we knew it was a trap, why would we walk right into it? Master's enemy is an 8th grade origin Qi realm beast king, and he has been suppressed by this beast king for close to 200 years. Even if we rescue him, he would already be a cripple. Moreover, it's impossible for us to rescue him. Damn it. Chang Yu understood that they were far from 100 zhang away. He cursed angrily, people often say that you can know a person's face but not his heart. Prince Lan, I really didn't expect you to be such a person. What did you say in front of Master back then? For the Fortune Gate. I understand now. Yes, you're right, you're willing to pay any price for the Fortune Gate. But the price you have to pay for this sacrifice is Master and the affection between us senior and junior brothers. What you have to give up is a person's conscience. Speaking up to here, Chang Yu took a deep breath and looked at Prince Lan again. He advised earnestly, Senior brother, I know that this is just a spur-of-the-moment idea. You're thinking too much because you've seen too many Fortune Gate disciples die. As long as you agree to return now and save Master with me, I can make a blood oath to pretend that nothing happened today. You're wrong. Prince Lan shook his head slightly and said, when the Continuous Merchant Union sent the news, I already thought of this. In the 200 years since Master left, our Fortune Gate has changed a lot. Others may not know, but we know very well. We are already the backbone of the hidden immortal mainland's Dao sects. Our Fortune Gate only needs to develop for a few hundred years, and we will definitely become the most important force to resist the Confucian cultivators. But in order to save Master, everything has to be turned to ashes. Everything we've done for the past few hundred years will turn into flowing water. I think, it's really not worth it. Moreover, my Fortune Gate disciple is still going to throw his life away when Master has already been killed. It's even more unwise. Fine. Chang Yu's face was ashen. He raised his hand and said, if you don't want to go, Master, you can leave. I definitely won't say a word to Senior Brother Xiong and Senior Brother Li. But, please, don't stop me from saving Master. Impossible. Prince Lan still shook his head. I understand. Chang Yu looked up to the sky and laughed, what you said, is not what you're thinking. What you want, is the entire Fortune Gate. It's your selfish desire to take the Fortune Gate for yourself that makes you so crazy. You want little brother to be buried here. You don't want little brother to leave alive, do you? Since you know. Then I won't hide it from you. Prince Lan replied indifferently, actually, this trap was left for Xiong-yi. You can't see it in my eyes. But since you came first, you can't live, otherwise I don't have the confidence to deal with you and Xiong-yi. Goo. Without waiting for Prince Lan to finish, Chang Yu waved his hand. The pigeon let out a shrill cry and rushed towards Prince Lan, blocking his path. Chang Yu opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood essence. The blood essence landed on his body. Wang. Crimson light flickered around Chang Yu's body, and his face turned red. His whole body turned into a crimson light and soared into the sky. Humph. His Highness Lan didn't panic at all. He waved his right hand, and a giant hand appeared, immediately trapping the pigeon. Then, the giant hand grabbed the pigeon, and with a boom, the pigeon was crushed by the giant hand. Its flesh and feathers were blown into the pond by the wind. Chang Yu didn't have time to look. The crimson light had already shot up several dozen zhang, but seeing Prince Lan so calm, Chang Yu couldn't help but be vigilant. Unfortunately, just as he was alerted, a large hand flickering with tricolored light broke through the air from the dozen or so golden core disciples standing in the distance and grabbed at Chang Yu's body. Damn it! Chang Yu was really caught off guard. He was familiar with all of Prince Lan's Golden Core Realm disciples. Although Prince Lan had already turned hostile, these Golden Core Realm disciples were still some distance away from Chang Yu. Chang Yu also knew that these disciples were no match for him, so he didn't take any precautions. Now that the giant hand had already sealed the space around Chang Yu, how could Chang Yu not know that this was the attack of a nascent soul realm cultivator? He roared, "Prince Lan, you dare to collude with outsiders." While speaking, Chang Yu waved his hand and a golden light mixed with blood flew out and hit the giant hand. The giant hand's sealing power was great, but wherever the golden light landed, kacha, a series of crisp sounds could be heard. The sealing power around Chang Yu was shattered, and even a few fingers of the giant hand were destroyed. Seeing that the sealing power was about to collapse, there was a loud boom, and a seal several hundred feet in size flew out from the giant hand. The seal fell and smashed towards the golden light. Amidst the boom, the golden light was blocked, revealing a shuttle-shaped magic treasure. As for the seal, it was destroyed and kept rolling in the air. Looking at the shuttle-shaped magic treasure again, it only paused in the air for a moment. The bloody light on it flourished, and with a "so" sound, it hit the seal again. Ka! A golden sound rang out and the seal was broken in half by the shuttle-shaped magic treasure. Moreover, the power of the shuttle-shaped magic treasure did not decrease and still stabbed at the magic treasure behind the seal. Boom! The giant hand obviously could not withstand the sharpness of the magic treasure, and the fingers began to collapse. What a good Taoist Xiao! A voice rang out from behind the gold core disciples. Then, another crimson ring of light descended. The fluctuations on the ring of light were like boiling water, causing the surrounding space to tremble. After the flying magic treasure was enveloped by the fluctuations, it was like a spirit snake that had been struck by its weak point. No matter how hard it struggled, it was unable to break free. While Chang Yu urged the magic treasure, his figure did not hesitate at all and still turned into a bloody red color and rushed out of the pool. At this time, the voice laughed coldly and said, "Want to leave?" Along with this voice, another nascent-souled giant hand fell out of the air and grabbed at Chang Yu like a meteor. Humph! Chang Yu did not care to see who it was. He rubbed his hands and several rays of light fell into the air, and layers of water ripples appeared in front of the giant hand. However, at this time, Chang Yu was suddenly shocked. His figure quickly rushed up, and with a wave of his hands, another ray of light fell below him. Unfortunately, before that ray of light could form, another giant hand several times larger than the previous one appeared below him. This giant hand was even more powerful than the previous one, and it grabbed Chang Yu. The strength of the giant hand was so great that Chang Yu's body was immediately crushed. Looking at the water ripples that Chang Yu had just used, they had already defeated the giant hand above him. Chapter 43-65. It turned out that the giant hand above Chang Yu's head was only used to lure the enemy. It was only an empty shell, and Chang Yu had actually fallen into the enemy's trap. Chang Yu's body shattered, and as his flesh and blood scattered, a 1-foot-long crimson infant flew out from the top of Chang Yu's head. This nascent soul held a shuttle-shaped magic treasure in its hands, and its face was filled with anxiety. Just as the nascent soul was about to activate the magic treasure, the light from the magic treasure flickered several times, and the flying shuttle that was trapped by the halo could not escape. The nascent soul spat out a mouthful of true yuan, which landed on the flying shuttle in its hands. The heaven-earth yuan qi around the flying shuttle condensed into a hurricane, but unfortunately, the flying shuttle had just taken shape and could not fly out. The giant hand that tore through Chang Yu's body rose again, and once again enveloped Chang Yu's nascent soul. At this time, Chang Yu no longer cared about counterattacking. Instead, the light around his body flashed rapidly, and a small part of his body was rapidly disintegrating. It seemed that he wanted to use teleportation to escape. It was also at this time that Lan Wang opened his mouth. Swoosh! A sword-like golden light rushed out, and the golden light streaked across the sky. Pooh! It pierced into the nascent soul's body, and Chang Yu's nascent soul that had just disappeared reappeared, and it was rapidly shrinking towards the golden light. Then die. Chang Yu saw that he was no match for the enemy, and knew that there was no way out. Boom! His entire nascent soul exploded. Seeing this, Lan Wang urged the nascent soul's hand, and hurriedly shouted at the group of Golden Core cultivators, "Senior Qing Su, quick, don't let him attract the attention of others." Behind the Golden Core cultivators, spiritual master Qing Su's figure appeared, but he did not listen to Lan Wang's words. Instead, he raised his hand, and the dozen or so Golden Core cultivators who were unprepared were all caught by him, and their magic power was sealed. Senior. Lan Wang was shocked. What are you doing? Spiritual Master Qing Su did not answer Lan Wang at all. Instead, he waved his hand, and the dozen or so Golden Core cultivators were all thrown into the explosion of the nascent soul. Pa pa pa. A series of explosions sounded, and blood splattered everywhere. Minced flesh and broken limbs fell from the air, and pu. They fell into the pitch-black pool. Qing Suzhenren, what are you doing? Seeing that Chang Yu's nascent soul had disappeared in the wake of the shockwave, his nascent soul's hand had also collapsed from the explosion, and the entire pool had been blown up into the air along with the countless algae and lotus flowers. When the pool water fell back down, it was soaked in the blood of a dozen Golden Core cultivators. In the entire sky above the pool, other than himself, there was only Reverend Qing Su. Prince Lan could not help but say angrily. Taoist Master Qing Su did not answer. He raised his hand and pointed. The halo fell and Chang Yu's flying shuttle fell into his hand. Spiritual Master Qing Su stroked the flying shuttle which was still unyielding like a spirit snake and sighed, "Spiritual Master Xiao, oh Spiritual Master Xiao, you are indeed a genius. The magic weapon you casually gave to your disciple can be so powerful. This old man is truly impressed." Spiritual Master Qing Su opened his mouth and a spiritual talisman fell down, imprisoning the flying shuttle and keeping it in his arms. Only then did he release his divine sense to check for a moment and said to Prince Lan, "Since Chang Yu is in danger, how can you not be injured? Since you are injured, how can your disciples return alive? Moreover, these disciples have seen you kill your own junior brother. Do you think you can rest assured that they are still alive? But, these are my trusted disciples that I have painstakingly cultivated." Prince Lan was really angry. The entire fortune gate will be yours in the future. Do you still care about these small sacrifices? Daoist Master Qing Su took out the universe ring from his bosom and threw some demon race corpses into the pool. He smiled and said, "Moreover, after you kill Xiong Yi and bring these disciples back to the hidden immortal mainland, not only will the Grand Mist Ancestor reward you, he will also send you more subordinates. These disciples today are nothing. I am not greedy for the Ancestor's reward. I just don't want the fortune gate that I have painstakingly built to be destroyed." Prince Lan was still angry. Spiritual Master Qing Su smiled and waved his hand. "There is no need to say any more. Chang Yu's death must have attracted the attention of the Fortune Gate's disciples. Moreover, Xiong Yi will be here soon. You better think of an explanation quickly." "Humph." Prince Lan snorted coldly and didn't say anything. He knew that Spiritual Master Qing Su was telling the truth. However, he only flew for 1,000 feet before he cursed, "Damn it. How could Chang Yu arrive first? How could his death not arouse Xiong Yi's suspicion? How should I kill Xiong Yi? Moreover, why was this Chang Yu so stubborn? Master can't save him, so why can't he protect the Fortune Gate? Since you can't kill him, then follow the Ancestor's plan. Bring the disciples to attack Bai Qingyu and find an opportunity during the battle. The Ancestor will also arrange for disciples to assist you. Even if you can't kill Xiong Yi, your prestige will surpass Xiong Yi's. When you return from the Thousand Beasts Sacred Land to the soaring Dragon Mountain Range, Li Xiang will naturally be under you." His Highness Lan's and Reverend Qing Su's voices grew softer and softer as their figures disappeared. The waves on the pitch-black pool still could not calm down and the color of blood did not disappear. Even though the flesh and corpses had fallen into the deep pool, the traces of blood were smeared on the algae. After the time it took to finish a meal, the smell of blood had faded away, and the water in the pool had also gradually calmed down. At a corner of the pool, a lotus flower that was a few feet in size quietly bloomed, and an incomplete nascent soul emerged from it with shock and weakness. Wasn't that Xian Ping's nascent soul, who had escaped from Yizhao Ridge earlier? Xian Ping's nascent soul didn't dare to stay here for long. He forcefully sucked in a breath of heaven and earth origin energy, and his body emitted a dim light. He randomly found a direction and hurriedly fled. What? Junior brother Chang Yu was in danger? Although Xiong Yi was very sad when he heard the news of Chang Yu's death, there wasn't much surprise in his tone. After all, from the hidden immortal continent to the Thousand Demons Sacred Territory, he had lost close to 50% of the Fortune Gate's disciples. Moreover, when he was passing through the demonic demon race's territory, he had encountered the demonic demon race's patrol team. Coincidentally, the patrol team had a mountain patrol envoy. Although Xiong Yi and the other Fortune Gate's disciples had killed the patrol team, they had paid a heavy price, and Xiong Yi himself was also injured. If Xiong Yi was already in such a state, how could Chang Yu, who had just stepped into the early nascent soul realm, be any better? Therefore, Xiong Yi didn't have any doubts about Prince Lan's words. "AI, that's right." At this time, Prince Lan's face was also pale, as if he was injured. Junior brother Chang just arrived here and realized that senior brother didn't arrive in time. He was worried and insisted on bringing his disciples to welcome you. How could junior brother let him come? Thus, he brought his disciples to welcome you. Junior brother Chang was afraid that junior brother's strength wasn't enough, so he insisted on following me. In the end, an hour ago, we met the demonic demon race at the lake on the mountain ridge. Prince Lan choked as he said this. Junior brother Chang Yu and a dozen of junior brother's disciples died in that battle. In order to protect junior brother Chang Yu self-detonated his nascent soul and perished together with the mountain patrol envoy. AI. Xiong Yi sighed and patted Prince Lan's shoulder. "Junior brother, don't blame yourself too much. Bring me there to take a look." Prince Lan was overjoyed. He raised his hand and pointed to the distance, but stopped Xiong Yi. "It's there, but junior brother doesn't recommend senior brother to go there. Junior brother clearly saw that junior brother Changyu didn't leave behind any remains. Moreover, the mountain patrol envoy died, who knows if their mountain patrol master will come. Did you bring back junior brother Chang's belongings? Xiong Yi asked again. Junior brother Chang's natal magic treasure has already exploded. Junior brother didn't have time to pick up his storage bag, so it should have fallen into the lake. Prince Lan didn't take these things back then because he wanted to lure Xiong Yi back. However, Xiong Yi thought for a moment and sighed, if you didn't take them, then don't take them. Most of junior brother Chang's belongings were left to the Soaring Dragon Mountain Range disciples. Whether we can return today is still a question. What do we need those things for? After saying this, Xiong Yi instructed, let's go quickly. After we meet up, we'll quickly change locations. Since we've already attracted the attention of the mountain patrol master, it's inevitable that there will be a big battle. Yes, senior brother. Prince Lan couldn't help feeling disappointed, but he didn't dare to refute and nodded his head in agreement. Although Xiaohua had made it clear before leaving the Soaring Dragon Mountain Range that the entire Fortune Gate would be jointly managed by Xiong Yi, Prince Lan, and Li Xiang was different from Xiong Yi and Prince Lan. He was more of a supervisor. Compared to Xiong Yi and Prince Lan, Xiong Yi was more proficient in sect affairs and had great foresight. His ability to judge the situation and size up the situation was better than Prince Lan's. Therefore, although the two of them discussed many things, and Xiong Yi also listened to Prince Lan's opinion, Prince Lan was well aware that he couldn't compare to Xiong Yi. The matter of going to the Thousand Beasts Sacred Land to save Xiaohua was also arranged by Xiong Yi. When the two nascent soul cultivators returned to the Forest Sea, the Fortune Gate disciples all sighed when they heard that Changyu had fallen. However, Changyu didn't have many disciples, and the number of Fortune Gate disciples that died this time was too high, so no one suspected anything. When they received Xiong Yi's order, they hurriedly packed up. Some flew, some escaped, and some rode on flying boats. More than 10,000 people quickly moved to another location. Xiong Yi was naturally with Royal Highness Lan. At this time, he had already taken a pill, and the color on his face had slightly recovered. He frowned and asked Royal Highness Lan, junior brother, has Patriarch Ingbo of the Luoy Merchant Union not arrived yet? Yes. Prince Lan nodded and replied, junior brother has been waiting here for more than 10 days, but I haven't seen any demonic beasts from the Flowing Merchant Union. Moreover, we didn't set a specific time with him. Judging from the itinerary, it should be in the next few days. Xiong Yi pondered for a moment and nodded slightly, this place is not far from Baiqingyu. If we continue forward, I'm afraid we'll attract Beast Monarch Baiqingyu's attention. We can only wait here for a few more days. After we meet up with Ingbo, we'll find a suitable solution. Chapter 4366. Senior Brother. His Highness Lan tried to sound Huang Xiaolong out. Ever since Ingpa sent a message to our Fortune Gate, there hasn't been any news from him. Even though he was the one who arranged the 3 groups of disciples' route to the Fortune Gate. However, there hasn't been any news from him after such a long time. This junior brother feels that something is wrong. What's wrong? Xiong Yi smiled. The Endless Stream Commerce Union took the initiative to come to our Fortune Gate, and at the same time, presented Master's token. In the past 200 years, our Fortune Gate and the Endless Stream Commerce Union have grown closer. As we grow, so do they. From what Ingpa said, the Endless Stream Commerce Union's development is inseparable from our Fortune Gate, and even more inseparable from Master. Without Master, the Endless Stream Commerce Union wouldn't exist today. If Ingpa was a demonic beast, this junior brother wouldn't think too much. After all, Ingpa is also a demonic beast that values friendship, he wouldn't do anything to betray Master. His Highness Lan replied, however, Ingpa is not only a demonic beast, he is also the patriarch of a tribe, and represents the endless stream commerce union. For master, we can disregard the price and come even if we know it's a dead end, but what about Ingpo's tribe? They may not be. Xiong Yi raised his head and saw that the sky was already covered with dark clouds. The originally clear sky was unknowingly covered by a strong wind, and not only did the wind fail to blow away the dark clouds, it even added to the bleakness of the sky. Xiong Yi looked at the clouds in the sky, and a strange light flashed in his eyes as he replied, "Everything depends on the will of the people, justice only exists between heaven and earth." Xiong Yi's words were sincere, but His Highness Lan snorted disdainfully at his words. However, His Highness Lan didn't dare to say anything, and only replied, "Yes, junior brother understands." Right at this time, the scouting bird suddenly dove down from the clouds in the sky, heading in a certain direction. Seeing this, Xiong Yi's expression was neither happy nor sad as he ordered, "Junior brother, go take a look. If I'm not mistaken, Ingpa should be here." "Yes, senior brother." His Highness Lan was a little surprised by Ingpo's arrival. He nodded and flew over to where Ingpo was. Sure enough, not long after, dozens of Ingpo's clansmen hurriedly rushed over. After saluting Xiong Yi, they presented their jade eyes to him and respectfully said, "Xiong sect leader, our clan heard that Taoist Master Xiao is in trouble. Therefore, we came here with the full strength of our clan to rescue him. Because there are too many people, if we were to stay together with the disciples of the Soaring Dragon Mountain Range, it would be easy to attract the attention of other demon clans. Therefore, our patriarch sent us here to lead the way for the disciples of the Soaring Dragon Mountain Range. Patriarch will lead more than 6,000 of our clansmen to set off from other places. As for the specific details, please check the Jade Eyes, sect head." Hiss. When Royal Highness Lan heard this, he unconsciously sucked in a breath of cold air. He understood the situation of the Yingbo clan. In the early years, the Yingbo clan lost their place of residence in the Thousand Demons Sacred Realm due to fighting. The entire clan moved to the hidden Immortal Continent, and that was how the Luo Yi Merchant Union came into existence. In other words, the Yingbo clan only had a little more than 3,000 people back then, and was on the verge of extinction. Although after more than 200 years of recuperation, the Luo Yi Merchant Union had now reached more than 10,000 clansmen. However, the Luo Yi Merchant Union was also very large now. For the Yingbo clan to send more than 6,000 clansmen to rescue Xiaohua, it was indeed the strength of the entire clan. This made Royal Highness Lan really unable to understand. "I thank you on behalf of Master." Xiong Yi nodded slightly, "I won't say any more superfluous words. Everything will be discussed after we rescue Master." "Yes. We understand." That demon was very clever. After saluting, he quickly left. Xiong Yi picked up the Jade Eyes and looked at it for a moment. Then, he said to Royal Highness Lan, "Pass down the order to all disciples. 3 days later, according to the plan, we will attack by Qingyu." "Yes." At this point, how could Royal Highness Lan still dare to say half a word of objection? He could only go along with it and think of another set of countermeasures in his heart. The clear sky was gone, and the clouds were dense. Wind and clouds were coming. Would the heavy snow be far away? Looking at the layers of clouds above by Qingyu for more than 10 days, the cold wind blew again and again, but there were no raindrops falling. And on this day, finally, a little bit of snow was born from the layers of clouds. It transformed into a salt pan and sprinkled down, as though it was adding some flavor to the feast. "Ha ha ha, the heavens are really helping us." Bai Qingyu's demon monarch Bai Qing's slightly hoarse voice drifted in the snow. The human race often says that drinking wine in the rain and eating meat in the snow are the two greatest pleasures in life. Now, seeing that my Bai Qingyu's feast is about to start, even the heavens want to attend it. "Yes, congratulations brother Bai, congratulations brother Bai. Ancient Bell Mountain's demon monarch and Quan's voice sounded at the same time. This is the omen of Bai Qingyu's great prosperity. I'm very envious. I don't dare. Bai Qing laughed again and said, with Ancient Bell Mountain and concealed Sky Ridge in front of us, how would I, Bai Qingyu, dare to talk about prosperity? It's only because there's another demon brother behind me that I have the guts to add some jokes to the Thousand Demons Sacred Realm. Yes, it's rare for the Thousand Demons Sacred Realm to be so lively. The Demon King of Shrouding Sky Ridge didn't continue to flatter her. Instead, he followed Bai Qing's words and said, today, Bai Qingyu's banquet actually attracted humans, demons, and even dragons. It truly surprised many demon kings nearby. Come, let's toast brother Bai. Ni Quan continued. Please. All the demon monarchs and demon generals congratulated in unison. The liveliness drove away the coldness in the entire world. The place where the voices came from was the foothills in front of the Heavenly Dam Water Prison. Now, a feast had already been set up. At the top, the three demon monarchs were raising their cups. On the stone table in front of them, bloody meat was steaming with the smell of blood. Below the three demon monarchs, there were many greater demons raising their cups to congratulate them. Below the greater demons, there were dozens of demon generals who were either prostrating, sitting cross-legged, or leaning against the wall. All of them raised their wine cups and held bloody meat in their hands, shouting loudly and making a racket. What a lively scene! After 3 rounds of drinking and a little bit of meat, the liveliness died down a little. Bai Qing was a little displeased. He released his yuan will to look around and asked loudly, "Where's the mountain patrol?" "I'm here." A demon of the 6th grade Yuan Qi flew out from the foothills and bowed respectfully. "The feast has already begun. Where's the promised feast?" "Yes, Your Majesty. I've already followed Your Majesty's instructions and retreated the demon soldiers in Bai Qingyu's 4 realms," the mountain patrol hastily replied. I think at this moment, those tough humans, before the mountain patrol could finish his words, demon monarch Peng Jun's eyes suddenly flashed with golden light. He laughed and said, it's coming, the liveliness is coming, as expected." Ni Quan also looked up into the distance and laughed while clapping his claws. There. The group of greater demons also turned their heads and looked in that direction. Seeing this, Bai Qing shouted, "Don't release your primordial thoughts. Don't disturb our food." Then, he turned his head and shouted, "Come, pass my order. Beat the drum and start the feast. Open the demon array." "Yes, Your Majesty." The mountain patrol answered and raised his hand to take out a triangular flag. As he activated his demon energy, a demon cloud flew out from the flag and landed between the mountains and swamps. Boom! At the place where the demon cloud landed, hundreds of tricolored light pillars shot up into the sky and enveloped the space within 100 miles. These light pillars slowly fell from the sky and intertwined with each other. A huge light screen slowly unfolded in front of the foothills. On the light screen was a scene 10,000 miles away. Before the demons could see what was on the light screen, dong dong dong. The sound of war drums sounded from above their heads again. The demons looked up and saw hundreds of shell-type demons stretching out their transmogrified tentacles. The tentacles held drumsticks that were a few feet thick and were beating the huge drum that was more than 100 feet in size. The sound of the drum spread in all directions. Before the sound of the drum, the halo caused by the light pillars stirred up the clouds. Layers of clouds surged in all directions. At the end of the turbulent clouds, between the towering mountain, 4 rainbows streaked across the sky. The divine will also swept across the sky like a surging river. When it swept across the 5-colored halo that covered the mountains and swamps, the halo produced layers of ripples. Many illusions appeared between the ripples. When the divine will fell into it, it immediately showed signs of dissipating. The four divine wills did not dare to delay and quickly retreated. When the rainbows stopped in mid-air, Zhang Daoran, Sun Kong, Zhai Xingzi, and Gusu Chudi appeared in the clouds. Unsurprisingly, the four of them all showed a trace of paleness on their faces. Their eyes were also filled with shock. "We're finally here." The shock in Gusu Chudi's eyes faded. Unconsciously, she revealed a sense of relief. She muttered in a low voice and turned to look at the direction they came from. Using her injured divine will, she said again, "Xingzi, I'm afraid the people from the Xianhuang token will catch up soon." "That's right." Pity appeared on Zhai Xingzi's face. He said again, "We've been in a hurry. Now that we've finally stepped into Bai Qingyu's sphere of influence, we have no regrets even if we die. However, Chou'er, it's been hard on you. It's okay." Gusu Chudi narrowed her eyes and looked at the five-colored halo that began to fill the area ahead. She was not inferior to men. She smiled and said, "Accompanying my husband for a day is equivalent to accompanying the Xianhuang Immortal Palace for 100 years. I've been with my husband for so long and I'm already filled with happiness. I once swore that I don't want to be born on the same day, but I want to die on the same day. It's my fortune to be able to go to the netherworld with my husband today." Zhai Xingzi was a bit choked up. He held Gusu Chudi's hand and said, "If I don't die today, the first thing I do when I return to the hidden immortal continent is to go to the Gusu clan to ask for your hand in marriage. Not to mention being bullied, even if I'm beaten to death, I'll accept it." Zhai Xingzi. Every woman wanted a proper status. Even Gusu Chudi, who was a 5th-level origin power grandmaster, could not escape the nature of this kind of woman. She knew that Zhai Xingzi's status was far from hers, and the Gusu clan would definitely not agree. Furthermore, she had faked her death, so it would be extremely difficult for Zhai Xingzi to officially marry her. Now that she heard Zhai Xingzi's words, she couldn't help but feel sad. Tears even flowed down her face. She nodded and said, "My husband is right. What I have to face, I have to face eventually. I want to be my husband's real wife." Chapter 4367. Well said. Zhang Daoran and Sun Kong also clapped their hands and said, "Let's make an agreement here. After we survive here, we will go with Daoist Master Xiao to Gusu clan to ask for her hand in marriage." "Thank you, uncles." Gusu Chudi's face blushed and she replied in a low voice. Boom. As she spoke, more than 10 demon clouds flew out from the five-colored halo in the distance. 5 demon generals led thousands of demon soldiers and surrounded them with weapons. Alas! Sun Kong sighed and said, "We originally wanted to sneak in quietly and find a chance to rescue Xiao Hua. Who would have thought that not only did the Immortal Palace's Xianhuang token intercept us halfway, but even Bai Qingyu's Demon King was prepared. This trip is really a dead end. Even if it's a dead end, we still have to give it a try." Zhang Daoran looked at the demon generals flying over and said word by word, "Seeing that Daoist Master Xiao is in trouble, if we don't give it a try, how can we be at ease? Kill!" Sun Kong Shangren roared and slapped the top of his head. A beam of light gushed out and landed in midair. Then, Sun Kong Shangren's body flashed with a green brilliance. His nascent soul Dharma body had expanded to 1,000 feet in just a moment. Woo! Sun Kong opened his mouth again, and his magic treasure soared into the sky. The shrill sound of wind whistling came from the magic treasure, and wind blades sharper than flying swords shrouded the space of 1,000 feet. Then, Sun Kong's nascent soul avatar flew up and formed seals with his hands, and the wind blades attacked a demon general flying over. Upon seeing Venerable Sun Kong reveal his nascent soul Dharma body, the demon general also let out a loud roar and the five-colored light around his body began to sway like ripples. Within the light, several hundred pillars of light that were invisible to the naked eye fell from the sky. Muffled booms continuously rang out nearby as the demon general's body began to swell. In just a short moment, he was already over 1,000 feet in size. Exalted Master Sun Kong's wind blades crossed the vast sky and enveloped the space around the fiend general. The power of the domain and the wind blades seemed to have cut through space. However, when the wind blades fell on the demon general's halo, ka, sound suddenly rang out. The halo was cut and annihilated under the power of the domain, but under the halo, the demon general's hard shell only had white scratches. It couldn't cause any substantial damage to the demon general. Seeing this, the demon general couldn't help but laugh. Humans are just blood-eating ears. Kill. While speaking, the demon general's shell suddenly opened, and a dazzling brilliance rushed out like the sun. The space imprisoned by Sun Kong instantly collapsed under the brilliance, and where the brilliance landed, the wind blades were cut and neatly cut into several pieces. The brilliance produced a boundless suction force sucking the wind blades. Damn it, what is this five-colored brilliance? Why is it so powerful? Sun Kong was shocked and quickly activated Heaven Howl again. The treasure let out a powerful roar and yellow light came out of all the holes at the same time. When the threads of light fell into the air, they strangely twisted together. Mysterious creatures as thin as mosquitoes swam around the threads of light. Woo-woo. Waves of ghostly wails and howls came from the void. Strands of the world's origin energy that had condensed into crystal threads appeared like a spider web and landed on the threads of light. Buzz. The space within hundreds of meters shook. A red and yellow hurricane broke through everything like a dragon. It carried the arrogance of Sun Kong as it roared and pounced at the demon general. The demon general was shocked and didn't dare to be negligent. He quickly shrank his demon body and the halo of the shell quickly flapped to protect his demon body. In just a few seconds, there was a loud bang and the red and yellow tornado had already arrived before the demon general. It hit the five-colored shell. The moment the five-colored light was hit, it turned into thumb-sized vortexes. Each vortex had a suction force and each vortex had five-colored light piercing into the air. Sun Kong Shangren had already used all his strength in this attack. Although the demon general's innate ability was powerful, under the hurricane, the tens of millions of vortexes all collapsed. Every ray of light turned into fireflies. When all the halos were annihilated, there was a crisp sound, and the demon general's shell was actually smashed into pieces. The demon general didn't dare to continue fighting. The demon cloud below him quickly formed and he was about to escape into the distance. Where do you think you're going? Sun Kong was overjoyed and let out a roar. His nascent soul body turned into wind and Heaven Howl smashed toward the demon general like thunder. Sun Kong, be careful. Just at this moment, Gusuchuri's shocked voice echoed. Sun Kong was startled, but he didn't dare to be negligent and quickly retreated. Swoosh. It was also at this moment that the dozen or so shells that had been shattered by Sun Kong suddenly flew into the air, heading straight for Sun Kong's chest. When he saw the shell shards streaking through the air, fine spatial cracks appeared, and the sharp shards even touched his protective light. The light was sliced apart like silk. Sun Kong was shocked. Venerable Master Sun Kong hurriedly activated the power of his domain, wanting to seal the space around him. However, the power of his domain turned into nothing when it landed on the five-colored center of the halo. Not good. Exalted Sun Kong hurriedly teleported, but he was still too late. Puff! Puff! Several muffled sounds were heard as the three shell fragments broke through Exalted Sun Kong's defenses and stabbed into his body. 3 streams of blood immediately spewed out. Weak human. The demon general sneered and no longer tried to compete with Sun Kong. The demon general quickly rotated and the five-colored light smashed into Sun Kong's nascent soul body. Damn it! Sun Kong hurriedly circulated his quintessential essence in an attempt to repair the injuries on his body. However, the five-colored halo was extremely strange. His quintessential essence was either absorbed or destroyed by the halo. Sun Kong was unable to repair it at all. Exalted Sun Kong cursed in his heart when he saw the demon general attacking once more, and he hurriedly utilized the wind movement technique to dodge. Since Sun Kong was the first to attack, Zhang Daoran naturally wouldn't be any slower. Just as Sun Kong used Heaven Howl, Sun Kong also used Drifting Snow. At this moment, there were already snowflakes falling from the horizon. Drifting snow rushed into the air, immediately enveloping the space within a radius of a few miles. The traces of ice were like spatial cracks as they rapidly attacked the demon general opposite of them. Wherever the ice crack passed, all the snow particles shook. In an instant, they turned into fist-sized ice balls that smashed towards the demon general from all directions. Wisps of green-white light rotated within the ice balls. Each ice ball would emit a strange whistling sound as it cut through the sky. Caw! Zhang Daoran's opponent was a giant rock. The giant rock let out a long cry and spread its wings. A shadow that was hundreds of feet large immediately appeared. The giant rock coldly looked at the ice and snow that filled the sky. Demonic light flashed around its body and more beams of light fell between its wings. A shadow that was hundreds of feet large surged out of the giant rock's body. Boom! 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 The great rock's demonic body rushed into the ice and snow space. As it flapped its wings, the ice balls were smashed into powder. Every time the ice balls exploded, the spinning halos would produce a violent force. However, the explosion of these ice balls only destroyed a trace of the giant rock's shadow. When the giant rock broke through all the ice and shattered the countless ice cracks, the giant rock had already flown above Zhang Daoran's head. The giant rock let out a sinister laugh. Its sharp claws that were dozens of feet long slashed down. Under the claws, the giant rock sealed the space within several hundred feet. Not only did the ice and snow disappear, but even the protective light around Zhang Daoran's body was about to be extinguished. Sigh. Zhang Daoran sighed. The giant rock in front of him had the strength of a sixth-grade origin energy. Moreover, the demonic race's demonic body was tyrannical. Using strength to break through techniques was never a lie. Zhang Daoran's techniques couldn't defeat the giant rock and he was at an absolute disadvantage in close combat. In just a short exchange, he was already forced to the edge of life and death. Zhang Daoran sighed and slapped the top of his head. A layer of greenish-white emerged from the surface of his body. Ancient talismans appeared on the greenish-white layer. Following which, the space around Zhang Daoran was immediately covered by a layer of solid ice. Pooh! Just as the layer of ice formed, an ice pillar that was several feet long shot out from the top of Zhang Daoran's head. This ice pillar shot straight into the sky. Wherever the ice pillar passed, the space was frozen. The space that the giant rock sealed also cracked and shattered inch by inch. Gotcha! The ice pillar collided with the giant rock's claws. Under the great force, the ice pillar also collapsed. However, the ice pillar only collapsed by a few feet. Zhang Daoran spat out another mouthful of blood. One. The ice pillar trembled and crazily rolled upwards. Not only did it freeze the giant rock's claws, it also spread towards the giant rock's abdomen. Ha, human, you've been tricked. The giant rock didn't panic at all. Instead, he laughed maniacally. Following which, the giant rock opened his mouth. Woo! A beam of greenish-red fire swept out crazily. In an instant, it covered Zhang Daoran's entire body. Furthermore, the giant rock's feathers also surged with threads of fire. In a few breaths' time, the ice pillar that was sealing him was melted. Damn it! Zhang Daoran could feel the scorching threads of fire surging into his body. He cursed furiously. He didn't dare to fight anymore. His figure flashed rapidly. He wanted to teleport out of the sea of fire. However, after he channeled his powers, his body also shook a few times. The space around him was actually sealed tightly by the giant rock. Zhang Daoran couldn't escape. When Zhang Daoran summoned drifting snow, Zhai Xingzi's gaze was like lightning. He swept across another demon who was also looking at him. Their gazes collided in midair. It was as if sparks were flying. Zhai Xingzi didn't turn back. He only instructed plainly, your injuries haven't healed. Why don't you hold the fort for the three of us? All right. Gusuchuri knew that it wasn't a good time for her to fight. She smiled and said, "This time, I'll be a little lazy." Chapter 4368. Okay. As Zhai Xingzi spoke, starlight surged around his body. Countless beams of starlight and moonlight descended from the sky and landed on his body. At this moment, star symbols appeared on the surface of Zhai Xingzi's body. It was like a star map that protected his body. Gusuchuri retreated slightly and raised his hand. The shoot the moon bow was already in his hand. He activated his true chi and beams of chi rushed into the shoot the moon bow. A cold moon arrow that was a few feet long was slowly formed. Rumble. Zhai Xingzi flew out, and the demon summoned his demon cloud to meet him. Zhai Xingzi waved his hand, and the star fragment appeared. The space within a few miles immediately darkened. The stars on the star fragment activated the power of the stars and moon, sealing the space. The brilliance of the stars was like a sword, piercing towards the demon. This monster was short and fat. There was a horn that was 3 inches long on top of his head. The wings on his back were also only a few feet long. The monster saw that the space around him was sealed. He activated his monster power but didn't see the beams of starlight and moonlight descend. He had a bad feeling in his heart. Seeing the light of the stars and moon piercing towards him, the monster let out an angry roar. He waved his claws in the air and the space around him was torn apart like silk. The space shattered and the light of the stars and moon was naturally distorted. Most of the light scattered. However, when the light pierced through the shattered space and pierced the monster's body, his body was immediately cut open. Strands of monster blood flowed out. Roar. The monster was furious. A grayish-black monster cloud appeared around him. The monster cloud crazily surged and rushed towards the starlight. The brilliance of the stars and the moon was like a sword, piercing through the demonic cloud. At this moment, the demon's horn began to ripple again. As the ripples fell into the air, faint ripples began to spread in all directions in the void. Zhai Xingzi frowned. He had a bad feeling. Fall. Zhai Xingzi formed a seal and pointed at the falling stars in the sky. As he chanted, stars appeared from the falling stars. They shook the space and smashed towards the monster. Although it was only a few thousand feet away, the star grew from a very small size to a very large one. When it landed on top of the demon clan's head, it created a huge commotion, as if it was really falling from the sky. Seeing the several thousand feet large star smashing into the space and distorting it, the monster suddenly roared. Boom boom boom. The space within 1,000 feet suddenly churned and collapsed. Waves of black and white light surged out from the cracks in space. However, none of this could stop the star from falling. The brilliance of the star pierced through space and smashed onto the head of the demon. Just as the demon was about to turn into ashes, the figure of the demon suddenly twisted and even folded. Zhai Xingzi was shocked and shouted, "Oh no!" Then, his figure suddenly retreated. Sure enough, just as his figure disappeared, a 3-inch long horn appeared at his illusory figure. In an instant, it shattered the space dozens of feet around him. A spatial divine ability. Zhai Xingzi's mouth was filled with bitterness as he called out to himself, this monster actually has a spatial divine ability. Damn it, I's star shatter is used to confine space and kill the enemy with the power of the stars and moon. Now, how can it be used? Sun Kong Shangren, be careful. At this moment, Gusuqiu, who was at the back, hurriedly reminded Sun Kong Shangren. When she turned her head to look at Zhai Xingzi, she hurriedly shouted, "Husband, please step aside and watch me kill this monster." "It's alright, your husband can still hold on." How could Zhai Xingzi bear to let Gusuqiu take action? After replying, he raised his hand and a huge hand formed by the brilliance of the stars and moon grabbed towards the demon clan. "Hee, with just this strength, you actually dare to come to my thousand demons sacred realm and behave so atrociously?" That demon sneered. He didn't use any other divine ability at all. Instead, he rushed up into the sky, and that horn of his collided with the star-moon hand. Boom! A strange wave, coupled with the sharp horn, caused Zhai Xingzi's hand to crumble instantly. Damn it! Zhai Xingzi, Sun Kong Shangren, and Zhang Daoran roared furiously at the same time. They were existences with fifth-grade origin energy on the hidden immortal continent. When had they ever been defeated like this? However, when they came to Bai Qingyu, a mere patrolling demon general was able to force them into a disadvantageous position. How could they possibly rescue Xiaohua, who was suppressed by the Demon King? Vile spawn. Since you're already here, why aren't you bowing down and being captured? Behind them, a faint voice sounded. Gusuqiu was startled. She hurriedly turned her head and saw dozens of clouds surging out from the horizon. The assassins of the Bound of Universe were chasing after them like maggots. "Husband, could it be that we've reached a dead end?" Facing such a desperate situation, Gusuqiu was distressed. She raised her head and looked in Bai Qingyu's direction. "We haven't even seen Daoist Zhao's face yet." Ha ha ha. In the distance, Bai Qingyu and Demon King Bai Qing laughed. The group of demon race also saw it clearly through the light screen. They all clapped their hands and laughed. Beat the drums and cheer. Following Bai Qing's shout, dong dong dong. Another battle drum beat sounded, shaking the surroundings. "Seniors, don't be anxious. Juniors will come to help you." Amidst the battle drums, a wave of battle cries sounded from another direction. More than 10,000 human cultivators activated their escape lights and swept across the mountains like black clouds, pouncing towards Bai Qingyu. A nascent soul cultivator at the front scanned them with his divine sense and immediately shouted. "Xiong! Xiong Yi!" Sun Kong Shangren was stunned at first, then he was overjoyed. He laughed and said, "Daoist Xiao indeed hid something. The disciples of the Black Wind Ridge are all here. Just these 10,000 Black Wind Ridge disciples are already the strongest force of our Dao sect, right?" Sigh. What a pity. Zhang Daoran was not happy. Instead, he sighed and said, "Even if there are more than 10,000 disciples, they're just moths flying into a flame. Not a single disciple will be able to return to the hidden immortal continent." Zhai Xingzi's expression also changed. He could only say, "What a pity." On the other hand, Gusuqiu's eyes lit up. She shouted, "How sad! How righteous! Good! Ha ha ha! Qingyu's banquet has finally begun." The demon general who had just fought with the 3 human cultivators laughed loudly. He raised the weapon in his hand and shouted, "Boy of Shrouding Sky Ridge, Ancient Bell Mountain, Qingbi Qingyu, listen to my command, kill." Just as the word "kill" fell, a wave of battle cries came from the mountains, ridges, and rivers in front of the Fortune Gate's disciples. 5 colored lights flickered as several thousand demonic beasts of various colors revealed themselves, brandishing their weapons as they charged towards the Fortune Gate's disciples like a tidal wave. Seeing that they were close, Xiong Yi's face revealed a murderous glint. He opened his mouth and a silver-white sword pillar flew out. The sword pillar instantly split into 10, and like spirit stones, they pierced towards the 10 demons in front of him. The 10 demonic beasts were also in the lower 4th grade. Facing the sword light, they sneered and did not dodge. They smashed the demonic beasts in their hands towards Xiong Yi. Pu. Almost at the same time, the silver-white sword light pierced through the demonic armor on the 10 demonic beasts. It even pierced through their bodies that had been tempered for a long time. The 10 demonic beasts did not even have the chance to scream before they died on the spot. Xiong Yi did not stop. He made a hand seal and the sword light pillar shot towards the other demonic beasts. Damn it! In a few breaths' time, Xiong Yi had killed more than a dozen demonic beasts. A demonic beast general roared and opened his mouth. A pillar of demonic light shot towards Xiong Yi. Seeing the demonic light was like water, majestic, Xiong Yi had no choice but to abandon his demonic beasts and fight the demonic beast general with his sword pillar. At this time, Prince Lan had no time to think about anything else. He also activated his magic treasure to kill the demonic beast general while dodging the demonic beast general's attack. In the air several hundred li away, more than 10,000 Fortune Gate's disciples were also engaged in a fierce battle with several thousand demonic beast clans. Brilliant lights flashed, and demonic chi soared to the sky. Miserable screams, the sounds of magic treasures colliding, and the sound of corpses falling to the ground filled the air. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Such a tragic scene was like child's play in the eyes of the 3 beast kings and the group of greater demons. They raised their wine cups and shouted, "What a feast, what a feast! Our trip here was not in vain. Cheers, let's continue to cheer. Kill." Zhai Xingzi sighed when he saw the Fortune Gate disciples fighting the demonic beasts. He did not even look at where the Xianhuang Order assassins came from. He waved his star shatter and continued to fight the demonic beast general. Huh. At this time, another heroic voice sounded from another direction. Several thousand short demonic beasts emerged from the ground. It was Ingpa and his fellow tribesmen. Ingpa shouted, "How can I miss out on such a grand occasion? Even if we can't save Daoist Xiao, we will spill our blood on the way to save him. Good men, good demonic beasts." Gusuchuri shouted. "If I can survive today, I will definitely befriend you." That's right. Such men are Daoist Zhao's best friends. Zhai Xingzi laughed. His star shatter flashed as he fought the demonic beast general again. Crazy, crazy, all of them are crazy. The assassins of the Xianhuang Order flew closer. When they saw such a huge battle, they could not help but be stunned. After all, they were humans. Although they wanted to kill Zhai Xingzi and the others, they could not kill humans from behind. Dong dong dong. Another wave of drumming sounded. More demonic beast soldiers flew over from other places to fight against the continuous Merchant Union's demonic beast soldiers. The demonic beasts were invigorated by the drumming, and their battle cries were endless. After half a cup of tea's time, the blood of the humans and demonic beasts had dyed the ground red. Beast King Bai Qing was still not satisfied. He looked at the situation on the light screen and waved his hand. He stood up and shouted, "Brothers, please wait a moment. This old man will show them some more exciting things." "Okay, we will wait and see." Ni Quan and Peng Jun were puzzled. They replied as they watched Bai Qing disappear into the heavenly dam water prison. Boom! In just a moment, demonic light burst out from the mountain peak of the heavenly dam water prison. A pillar of fire shot up into the sky. When the pillar of fire pierced through the sky, another struggling human head was suppressed under the pillar of fire. Chapter 43-69. Ha ha ha, good, good, good. When Ni Quan and Peng Jun saw this, how could they not know that Bai Qing had projected the scene of Xiao Hua being suppressed from the heavenly dam water prison to provoke the human cultivators? As they clapped their hands, they carefully released their spiritual sense, especially Peng Jun. His eyes scanned the surrounding space as if he was waiting for someone's arrival. Damn it, damn it, damn it. The fire pillar rushed into the sky and covered the entire Bai Qingyu. Not to mention Xiong Yi and the other Fortune Gate disciples, even Zhai Xingzi and Zhang Daoran felt sad. Everyone roared in unison, and their morale soared. The entire human race's morale soared as they charged towards the demonic beasts without any regard for their lives. However, when more than half of the demons were killed, the human cultivators had only pushed forward for more than 100 miles. Boom, boom, boom. The five-colored brilliance shone brightly again, and many demon clouds rose again. Hundreds of thousands of demon soldiers and demon generals rushed out, covering the sky and covering the earth, and counterattacking the human cultivators. Moreover, behind these demonic beast soldiers and generals, there were hundreds of thousands of demonic beast soldiers holding demonic artifacts, standing guard in the distance. At this time, Zhai Xingzi, Sun Kong, and Zhang Daoran were already injured. Gusu Qiudi's moon shooting bow had already shot twice, and after killing 2 demonic beast generals, she no longer had any power to kill. Seeing that there were more than 10 demonic beast generals with 6th grade essence force sneered and surrounded them, Zhai Xingzi looked at Gusu Qiudi and said, "Qiu, we finally saw Daoist Xiao. Although we can't save him, we have no regrets." However, before Zhai Xingzi could finish his words, another strange phenomenon appeared behind the human cultivators. Zhai Xingzi, Zhang Daoran, and the others were curious and couldn't help but release their spiritual sense. When they saw it clearly, their eyes were filled with shock. They looked at each other and exclaimed, how is this possible? Good heavens! The snowflakes on Jade Mountain are as big as a mat, and they are falling onto the drum stage. A somewhat sour voice reverberated in the gloomy sky. In that voice, snowflakes the size of a thumb fell. The source of the voice was an arrogant python dragon. The python dragon did not move its body to fly. Instead, it coiled in the air and raised its head to look at the sky covered by dark clouds as it roared loudly. This python dragon was obviously transformed from Xiao Hua. He had followed Shui Mingzi, Ao Zhantian, and the others to Bai Qingyu. Along the way, he had clearly heard their voice transmissions, and he couldn't help but be deeply moved by the changes in people's hearts. Unfortunately, he had still underestimated his influence on the hidden immortal continent's Dao Gate, and he had also underestimated the Stream Merchant Union's ability. He was completely unaware of the efforts the Stream Merchant Union, Fortune Gate, Ao Sheng, Ao Zhan, Zhai Xingzi, and the others had put in to rescue the so-called Xiao Hua. He was even more unaware that Fairy Jing, who he thought was eager for quick success, had already sacrificed her life for him. At this moment, Xiao Hua looked at the sky. The gloomy sky seemed to make him unhappy. He couldn't help but recite a poem. When the nearby Dao Gate's cultivators heard this, they couldn't help but cover their mouths and laugh. Although they were somewhat disdainful of this python dragon's pretentiousness, this flood dragon's divine ability made them revere it. However, after being together for so long, they also felt that this python dragon had no other shortcomings other than its arrogance and bad temper. At this moment, one of the cultivators couldn't help but remind Ao. "Fellow immortal Aoe, why don't you take a look? This snowflake is not the size of a straw mat. Could it be that the straw mats in your hometown are like this?" Ha ha ha. Xiao Hua laughed heartily. As he laughed, all the snow within a radius of 300 meters was shaken into powder. Immediately after, Xiao Hua opened his mouth and spat out a stream of demonic qi. In the sky, a thin piece of ice that was several meters in size appeared and slowly drifted down with the wind. This old man knows that you are jealous of this old man's talent and the nobility of my dragon race. Xiao Hua raised his hand and pointed. Do you see? This is a snowflake as big as a straw mat. Then what about the drum-beating platform? That cultivator saw that Xiao Hua wasn't angry and asked again. Clang clang. Xiao Hua coughed twice. The python dragon's voice was like thunder. Xiao Hua laughed again and said, Look, this is, without waiting for Xiao Hua to finish speaking, dong, dong, dong. In the sky, the sound of drums faintly rang out. Layers of clouds were formed in the dense dark clouds that were previously covered by the drums. They rapidly rippled from afar and covered the entire sky in a short moment. The snowflakes floating in the air were also shattered by the drum beats. When the clouds moved, the drum beats stopped and large snowflakes really began to drift down. This is already the Baiqingyu territory? Ao Zhantian's expression turned serious and he turned to ask Shui Mingzi. Shui Mingzi smiled and nodded. That's right. This place has already entered the Baiqingyu demon realm. Good. Ao Zhantian took a deep breath as he swept his gaze across all the Dao sect cultivators nearby. In the end, his gaze landed on Shui Mingzi's face, and he said word by word, Shui Mingzi, I'm sure you've already told the other fellow Taoists what you told me earlier, right? A trace of embarrassment flashed across Shui Mingzi's eyes. However, he immediately nodded and said, That's right. That's good. Ao Zhantian raised his hand and lifted his Taoist robe. With a wave of his hand, the corner of the robe fluttered in the wind. Ever since the Jade Pavilion meeting, I have always treated fellow Shui as my best friend. This time, when I received news of Taoist Zhao's death, I immediately contacted fellow Shui. From the hidden immortal continent to the Thousand Demon Sacred Realm, from the North Sea to Baiqingyu, I thank fellow Shui for leading the way. I also thank fellow Shui for accompanying me in killing demonic beasts. At the same time, I also thank fellow Shui for not stabbing me in the back. Fellow Taoist Ao, what do you mean by this? Shui Mingzi sneered. His gaze followed the fluttering corner of the robe and became even more confused. He muttered, Are you cutting off your relationship with me? It's nothing. People who walk different paths cannot make plans together. Ao Zhantian said proudly, This time, I came to Baiqingyu to save Taoist Zhao. I have no interest in Taoist Zhao's disciple and your blood oath. Since we are already here, there is no longer any intention to cooperate between us. Since everyone is suspicious of each other, we might as well separate. I don't care why you want to save Taoist Zhao. As long as you can save him, I will definitely not stop you. However, if you want to do anything to Taoist Zhao, then don't blame me for being impolite. After saying that, Ao Zhantian flew several hundred meters into the sky. He turned his head and shouted, Is there anyone else who is not willing to wallow in the mire with Shui Mingzi and is willing to die for Taoist Zhao with me? Ao Zhantian's sudden commotion caused the Taoist cultivators to look at each other. Just as Ao Zhantian had said, Shui Mingzi had been observing everyone's expressions along the way and had transmitted his voice to every cultivator at the right time. Most of the Taoist cultivators were hot-blooded men. When they heard that Taoist Zhao was in trouble, they all rubbed their palms together and came to his rescue. However, after entering the Thousand Demons Sacred Realm, under the countless difficulties and trials of life and death, their hot-bloodedness and impulsiveness had long been obliterated. All that was left was the interrogation of their conscience. This kind of interrogation was something that no cultivation method had ever done. Not to mention the cultivators, even Ao Zhantian had countless thoughts along the way. He was like a fence-sitter. One moment, he was here, the next moment, he was there. One moment, he felt that he should be Xiao Hua. The next moment, he felt that Shui Mingzi was right. It was only now that he truly recognized his own heart and saw his own path. Ao Zhantian had seen it clearly. What about the other Taoist cultivators? After half a cup of tea's time, not a single cultivator stepped out from the crowd. Xiao Hua's heart grew colder. I'm willing. Just as Ao Zhantian sighed and was about to leave, Su Tingzi gritted his teeth and flew out from the crowd. Su Tingzi was an extremely thoughtful person. When he helped Xiao Hua on the Yaotai mountain, he had thought about it several times before taking action. After leaving the Yaotai mountain, Xiao Hua wanted him to join the Fortune Gate like Xiong Yi. However, he hesitated and refused in the end. It was the same this time. He thought about it for a long time, and when he saw that Ao Zhantian was about to leave, he couldn't help but step out from the crowd. Good. Ao Zhantian was overjoyed. He clapped his hands and laughed. Although there are many Taoist cultivators in the world, there might not be many who are worthy of Taoist Zhao's attention. There's no need for too many who are waiting for Taoist Zhao. Just one of them is enough. After saying that, Ao Zhantian seemed to have thought of something, and he turned to Xiao Hua, who was watching the show from afar, and cupped his fists. Fellow Taoist Ao, although what I said was true, there's a possibility that dragons will come to Bai Qingyu. However, there's something I didn't say. Bai Qingyu is a place of death. There's almost no chance for dragons to come. Moreover, there's no turning back if you go forward. Please. Roar. Xiao Hua was instantly enraged when he heard this. His entire python body stretched out in midair as he roared at Ao Zhantian, "Motherfucker, you actually dared to lie to me? Did you use me to protect you?" Ao Zhantian smiled bitterly. "Although I didn't lie to you, my true meaning is more or less the same. Fellow Taoist, if you go forward, you won't be able to turn back. I'm already prepared to die. Therefore, fellow Taoist, please turn back." Damn it, damn it, damn it. Xiao Hua cursed angrily as he looked at the fearless Ao Zhantian. His python body stopped in the air as if he wanted to kill Ao Zhantian. However, he seemed to feel that it wasn't worth it and didn't know what to do. At this moment, Shui Mingzi raised his hand and waved. The remaining cultivators moved and surrounded Su Tingzi. Shui Mingzi then flew in front of Ao Zhantian. He. Ao Zhantian wasn't surprised by Shui Mingzi's actions. He sneered. "Shui Mingzi, you finally couldn't hold back. Actually, I've been guessing on the way here when you would attack me. However, this is all you've got. It didn't exceed my expectations." Chapter 4370. At this point, Ao Zhantian suddenly came to a realization. He looked to the left and slapped his forehead. Could it be that this is Bai Qingyu? You don't need to be wary anymore. Are you going to attack me again? Could it be that you also attacked Taoist Master Xiao back then? Shui Mingzi's expression changed slightly. How could I attack Taoist Master Xiao? When he was training in the Thousand Demons Sacred Realm, he offended Monster Monarch Bai Qingyu and was captured by her. Ha. Ao Zhantian laughed loudly. He pointed at the group of nascent soul cultivators and said, "Look at this sanctimonious thing." If he didn't say this, I could only guess. However, based on his words, I can conclude that Taoist Master Xiao was harmed by him. Shui Mingzi was shocked. He seemed to have thought of something. However, he immediately sneered. "Xiao Hua's matter has nothing to do with me. I also want to save him. However, I don't want to save him for nothing. I just want him to return the blood oath we made. Shui Mingzi, oh Shui Mingzi, don't forget." Ao Zhantian decided to get straight to the point. "You invited me to the Thousand Beast Sacred Realm's ancient Bell Mountain to participate in some kind of event. I didn't agree. After that, I went to visit Taoist Master Xiao and invited him to participate in the Dragon Island training with me. At that time, I asked Daoist Master Xiao if you invited him. Daoist Master Xiao said that you invited him and he agreed. If that's the case, didn't Daoist Master Xiao come to the Thousand Demons Sacred Realm to participate in the Ancient Bell Mountains event? If it weren't for your selfishness, how could he have been betrayed? Ao Zhantian, you're talking nonsense. Shui Mingzi said angrily. Xiaohua didn't come at all. I only thought of using the Ancient Bell Mountain's power after hearing that he was suppressed by Monster Monarch by Qingyu. Ao Zhantian smiled mysteriously. His gaze moved from Shui Mingzi to the nascent soul cultivators surrounding Su Tingzi. He said meaningfully, if you didn't set Daoist Master Xiao up, what are you doing right now? Do you need to kill me just to take control of Daoist Zhao's forces? Ao Zhantian's words were extremely heart-wrenching, and Shui Mingzi was instantly forced out of his heart. Setting aside everyone else, even Xiaohua couldn't help but blame Shui Mingzi for the little white dragon's imprisonment. He knew very well that he hadn't come to the Thousand Beast Sacred Realm to participate in any grand event, but even he couldn't help but blame Shui Mingzi for the little white dragon's imprisonment. At this moment, Ao Zhantian added fuel to the fire by asking, "Oh, and where is Daoist Xian Ping's nascent soul? Does he know about your background and have something on you that he can use against you? That day in front of Yizhao Ridge, he directly called you Shui Mingzi. Now that his nascent soul is nowhere to be seen, did you kill it?" Venomous slander. Shui Mingzi couldn't help but fly into a rage. What does this have to do with me? Before he could even finish his sentence, a beam of light shot out from Ao Zhantian's Daoist robes and slashed towards Shui Mingzi's waist. Wasn't that Ao Zhantian's scythe magic treasure? Damn it! Shui Mingzi was caught off guard. His body flashed and he teleported into the distance. Whoosh! A shadow was sliced into two by the scythe. Ao Zhantian took advantage of Shui Mingzi's evasion and roared, "Let's see who dares to block my path." Then, he waved his Daoist robes and charged toward Bai Qingyu. Su Tingzi, who was feeling a little regretful, didn't have any way of turning back. He urged his body to escape with Ao Zhantian. Dong, dong, dong. At this moment, like the sound of war drums being beaten 3 times, the sound of muffled thunder came from the sky. This time, the sound of the drum was different from the previous one. It reverberated at a low altitude, and wherever the sound of the drum passed, some demonic formations were activated. An indescribable power of the stars and moon also rushed out from the void and landed in all directions. Boom! A clear sound rang out from the ground not far from Ao Zhantian. Several shadows as large as the north of the sea rushed out. These shadows were immensely powerful and they enveloped an area of 10,000 feet in front of Ao Zhantian. Ao Zhantian didn't dare to be careless. He hurriedly stopped and dodged. Just as he was dodging, Shui Mingzi raised his hand and slapped it. A 5-colored beast's skin fell from his hand. Dozens of tiny pillars of light descended from the sky and landed on the demonic runes on the beast's skin. Thin 5-colored patterns slowly appeared on Shui Mingzi's body. Shui Mingzi activated his body and teleported in front of Ao Zhantian. Bai Qingyu's demonic formations instantly disappeared when they came into contact with the 5-colored patterns on Shui Mingzi's body. Since fellow Daoist Ao doesn't want to accept a toast, then I have no choice. Shui Mingzi seemed to have a card up his sleeve. He raised his hand and took out his horsetail whisk. Under the activation of his magic power, the horsetail whisk actually shone with 5-colored light. As he waved it, the demonic formations that had been activated earlier seemed to be lifted by the horsetail whisk. Dozens of demonic lights surged out from the ground and enveloped an area of 10 kilometers around Ao Zhantian like a fountain. Normally, it's a dog who bullies its master. But now, it's a dog who bullies its master. What can I do? Ao Zhantian snorted coldly. He raised his hand and slapped the top of his head. The blood-colored dragon avatar gradually emerged from his body. Roar! Just as the dragon avatar raised its head and was about to roar, a dragon roar several times louder than his rang out from another direction. Ao Zhantian was stunned. The dragon avatar extended to several thousand feet in length and looked toward the source of the dragon roar. In the sky, between the layers of colorful clouds, a dozen or so enormous dragon bodies flew over with auspicious auras. The dragon aura that could drown a person surged toward them like a tidal wave. Ao Sheng. Ao Zhantian couldn't help but tremble when he saw the dragon body that was at least 10,000 feet in length and the golden crown on the dragon's forehead. He's really here. Ao Sheng wasn't the only one. Ao Zhan's black dragon body also appeared behind Ao Sheng. The other dragons that were protecting Ao Zhan also caught up from behind. Damn it. Shui Mingzi didn't know who Ao Sheng was, but when he heard Ao Zhantian's exclamation and recalled that Ao Zhantian had mentioned Ao Sheng to the python dragon, how could he not know that he was in trouble? He cursed angrily and hurriedly took out another beast hide from his robes. Then, he spat a mouthful of blood essence onto it. The beast hide ignited on its own and instantly transformed into the projection of a winged beast. It turned into a white line and flew into the depths of Bai Qingyu. Roar! Ao Zhantian's dragon avatar also raised its head and roared, trying to attract Ao Sheng's attention. Xiao Hua, who was beside him, laughed loudly in his heart. Dragon tribe, it really is the dragon tribe. Cough cough, I've finally seen a true dragon tribe member today. Unfortunately, regardless of whether it was Ao Zhantian, Su Tingzi, Shui Mingzi, or the group of human cultivators, no one had the time to pay attention to this python dragon who was waiting for the arrival of the dragon tribe. Roar! Ao Sheng clearly heard Ao Zhantian's call. He swept his vital sense over and his dragon body flew in their direction. However, Ao Sheng's dragon roar contained a trace of warning. When Ao Zhantian sensed that something was amiss and took a closer look at Ao Sheng and the other dragon tribe members, he couldn't help but turn pale with fright. This was because even though Ao Sheng's body was flashing with golden light, the dragon armor under the golden light was already slightly damaged. The dragon scales that covered the dragon armor were either shattered or bleeding profusely. There were even claw marks that were several dozen feet in size on some parts of his body. Holy fuck, it can't be! Xiao Hua exclaimed in shock. A dragon tribe member can also be injured in the Thousand Beast Sacred Realm? Immortal friend Ao, this is the dragon tribe you were talking about? Why does it look like they're inferior to me? Could it be that my bloodline is better than the dragon tribes? Woo! Before Ao Zhantian could reply, the sound of a bugle horn rang out from the depths of Bai Qingyu. Numerous demonic clouds emerged from the foothills and surged toward them. Above the demonic clouds, numerous star-stage demon generals stood proudly. Behind them, several hundred demon soldiers wielded their weapons and charged over. Ao Zhantian? Why are you here? Ao Sheng yelled before he even got close. Ao Zhantian didn't say much. He only raised his voice and said, I came to Bai Qingyu to rescue Xiao Hua, Daoist priest Xiao Hua. These dozen or so Daoist sect cultivators all have distracting thoughts, and this out-of-body Daoist priest Xiao is the main culprit behind Daoist priest Xiao's misfortune. Ao Zhantian's words were truly timely. Ao Sheng didn't hesitate at all. He let out a loud roar and spat out a mouthful of dragon's breath. A majestic aura that numbed the bones of the Daoist sect cultivators fell from the sky. Ao Zhantian's dragon blood dharma body was the only one who managed to block the dragon's aura. The dozen or so human cultivators, including Su Tingzi, tried their best to resist the dragon's aura with their magic power, but they were still unable to stabilize themselves in mid-air. The light around their bodies scattered, and they fell from the sky. They couldn't even gather their true essence. On the other hand, Shui Mingzi's body flashed with five-colored light. He transformed into a shadow and flew toward Bai Qingyu's demon generals. Kill. Ao Sheng didn't care about these Taoist sect cultivators at all. He let out a furious roar, and the golden light around his body shone brightly. In an instant, he covered a distance of dozens of miles. He opened his dragon claws and swiped at Shui Mingzi. Moreover, the heavenly dragon speech technique was unleashed from the dragon's mouth. Above the heads of the Taoist sect cultivators, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth within 100 miles surged violently. Clusters of flames appeared and rained down on the Taoist sect cultivators. Wherever the flames touched, the space was scorched and distorted. The Taoist cloud that soared into the sky was also burned to ashes. A dozen or so weaker Taoist soldiers were engulfed by the flames and fell from the sky while howling. Boom, boom. Seeing how powerful the flames were, the Taoist generals on the Taoist cloud didn't dare to be careless. They hurriedly circulated their Taoist qi, and streaks of five-colored light soared into the sky. The five-colored light was indeed powerful. The flames unleashed by the heavenly dragon speech technique were destroyed by the five-colored light. However, Ao Sheng, Ao Zhan, and the rest of the dragon tribe cultivators were already close to the Taoist sect cultivators. Ao Sheng's dragon claws were already descending. While Shui Mingzi was shocked, he had already taken out his horsetail whisk. Tens of thousands of light strands flew up to meet the attack. Unfortunately, the light strands were easily grabbed by Ao Sheng's dragon claws. As the light strands turned into sand and fell to the ground, Shui Mingzi's horsetail whisk also let out a sizzling sound. The strands of light strands that were refined from an unknown material were already flying away. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.